You can feel it.
Get up on out the bed and start to move your balls. Wake up a word, it's Solomon Jones. Word. You better wake up now.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wake Up with Word on this Tuesday, July the 20th. Clearly, I am not Solomon Jones. I'm guest hosting for Solomon today. My name is Renee Chenault Fatah, and I am here on 96.1 FM and 900 AM. WURD, the voice of the African American community. And joining me this morning, of course, is the amazing Kwesa Mathis. And Kwesa, I have to tell everyone, you have been so supportive. You're here with me virtually. I gotta let folks know, I listened to you and Solomon yesterday morning. You were fabulous. And then no sooner had you gotten off the air than you were on the phone with me answering all my crazy questions, because this is all new to me. I've only guest hosted once before. So you were so kind throughout the day, providing me with, advice and news stories. So just a real shout out to you, on top of providing amazing music. I love Michael Jackson. So just a great way to get the morning started. How are you doing this morning, Kwesa?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Like I said, I'm excited. I'm nervous. It is so great to be back with the WURD family. As I said, I had guest hosted only once before, and that was, I guess, a couple of years ago. I guess for a month of Mondays in 2019, I had the opportunity to fill in for Barbara Grant, and Sarah Lomax Reese was so kind to allow me to spend that entire month talking about Alzheimer's, because I was working on a documentary on Alzheimer's in communities of color. And we're going to be talking about, where the documentary is and the latest later in the week. But it's just, I firmly believe that having spent that time, that month, it connected me with the community around this issue and really set the documentary up for success. And it also led to, in a sense, me returning to my first career. I mean, I think most people in Philadelphia know me as working in television for 25 years at NBC 10, but I actually set out to be a lawyer, and went to the University of Pennsylvania Law School and practiced law in New York and clerked for a wonderful judge, but then left the law to pursue journalism. So the documentary and advocating for seniors led me back to the law, because I ended up working at the Senior Law Center, which Michael Cord, I think, was just last week talking about the wonderful services that they provide. So I was there, and then just about a month ago, an opportunity came up that was really, I think, in this moment of social justice and criminal justice reform and reawakening, it was an opportunity that was just too important to me to let go by. And that's where I am currently. I'm sitting in my office at the Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. And a lot of the guests that we're going to have on today and in the days to come are going to be addressing some of the issues of criminal justice reform and the issues of pardons and expungements. So in a way, life has sort of truly come full circle for me, but it's just really great to be here with the WURD family this morning.
Well, it's really great to have you here this morning. It really is, and it is a pleasure. I thank you so very much for the accolades, but also you are a wonderful human being as well. So it was nice to have those conversations, and I look forward to a really great show this morning.
Well, thank you, Kwesa. And like I said, we're going to be talking issues of criminal justice. We've got some incredible guests coming in this morning. Leader Joanna McClinton and ShopRite President Jeff Brown and Reverend Michelle Simmons and our Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman and the second First Lady of Pennsylvania, Giselle Fetterman, are going to join us. But I don't want to deviate too much from the WURD format. I know that you guys start with news, and I, going back to that other career, know a little bit about news. So why don't we start off with some of the news stories of the day? And once again, I have to give you kudos, Kwesa, because the first story you chose, I think, is so, well, it's a doozy. Let me just start off by saying that. A man who pleaded guilty to breaching the Senate chamber during the U.S. Capitol insurrection was sentenced Monday to 8 months in prison in a closely watched case that could influence how hundreds of other rioters charged with the same felony are punished in the future. Paul Hodgkins, a 38-year-old Floridian, is now the first Capitol rioter convicted of a felony to be sentenced. He pleaded guilty last month to obstructing congressional proceedings, specifically the counting of the electoral votes, which he helped delay, as we all remember, back on January 6th. He spent about 15 minutes on Monday inside the Senate chamber wearing a Donald Trump shirt and carrying a Trump flag. How can any of us forget those images? Well, the sentence is far less than the 1.5-year prison term that the Justice Department had requested. At a hearing Monday, prosecutors argued that 1.5 years would have deterred future political violence and sent a strong warning to, quote, people who may be contemplating a second act after January the 6th. District Judge Randolph Moss departed from the recommendation of the Justice Department. He said Hodgkins contributed to a grave offense against democracy, but deserves some leniency because he pleaded guilty exceptionally early, wasn't involved in violence, and issued a sincere apology. The judge says, when a mob is prepared to attack the Capitol to prevent elected officials from both parties from performing their constitutional and statutory duty, democracy is in trouble. But Moss also said, and this was his reasoning, that going forward could set a benchmark for other Capitol riot cases. Nearly, as we remember, 550 rioters have been charged. The Justice Department says at least 230 of them have been charged with the same obstruction of Congress crime to which Hodgkins pled guilty. Justice Department lawyers made an impassioned case that the January 6th attack was an act of domestic terrorism, even if Hodgkins isn't a domestic terrorist and hasn't been charged under terrorism statutes. But they urged the judge to match the severity of the attack by giving him a 1.5-year prison term, which was in the middle of the agreed upon guidelines in his plea deal. You know, I'm going to stop here. And Kwesa, I want to get your reaction to this, but my initial reaction or response. I mean, as I kept saying and reading this, we all remember those scenes back on January 6th. At the time, I was still working from home, so, you know, the TV was on in the background. We all saw the acts of terrorism, the rampaging through the Capitol. People lost their lives that day. And while I don't think you hand down a harsh sentence lightly, what went on in my mind when I was watching those images, what went on in my friends' minds, because we were feverishly, texting and calling back and forth, as well as the days that followed, was that if the faces of those rampagers, those terrorists, I don't care what he was charged with, he was a terrorist. If the faces of those involved in the uprising at the Capitol were black and brown, both the response as well as the outcome would have been dramatically different. And while I said, I think you have to be measured in giving out a sentence, there's not equality and equity here. When you think about, I work in an office where people who have had marijuana possession, maybe a little bit of marijuana in their possession, get sentenced for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Someone who is at the scene of a murder, didn't participate in the murder, maybe was the lookout or drove the getaway car, they oftentimes get mandatory life in prison without possibility of parole. So again, the justice system is not equal when you look at what people who look like me and people who look like you versus the faces of those people who were in the Capitol on January 6th. So I'm glad you selected this story to get us started, and I certainly want to hear your thoughts.
I can honestly say, in my opinion, I feel that he should have gotten a harsher sentence. I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I kind of want somebody to, an example to be made out of them so that people do not think that it is okay to do something like this again in the future. I'm not saying that it has to be, 20 years in prison or, something crazy like that, but, you at least need to serve up the right types of consequences so that people don't think that it's okay to try to overthrow the American government. And you're absolutely correct. If, in fact, these terrorists were black and brown people, it would be a completely different story. The narrative would be completely different, and we would see those harsher sentences. And so I personally feel that it should be a little bit harsher. And I don't really care what anybody says. Oh, I just kind of went in there and, I didn't really know exactly what was going on. How could you not have known exactly what was going on? People died during this. And so, I do think that it should be a harsher sentence. But, at the same time, I am glad to see that he will be facing some prison time. And I hope that more follow after that.
Right. And, he was given 8 months. The reality is it'll actually be less than 8 months because we don't know how much time he had already been detained. And, and I just, I look at the fact that some 550 others have been charged with this. And my fear is that even though the judge, will tell you that, each case will be judged, separately on its merits. This sets a bad precedent, and we'll have to watch this one. But okay, let's next story. This is something that all of us are facing in one capacity or another. And of course, I'm talking about COVID and what's happening with some of the variants that are being talked about. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy said Sunday that he actually anticipated more counties around the nation, not just LA, that certainly was the first, but more counties reinstituting COVID-19 prevention measures, including mask mandates amid case surges linked to more transmissible variants of the coronavirus. Murthy's warning came just days after LA County said all residents would be required to wear masks indoors again, regardless of vaccination status, as new infections linked to the Delta variant increased in the region. The Delta variant is highly transmissible. It already accounts for a majority of the new cases in the U.S. Public health officials have warned that unvaccinated Americans are particularly vulnerable. The Surgeon General says it's very reasonable for counties to take more mitigation measures like the mask rules you see coming out in LA, and I anticipate that will happen in other parts of the country as well, Murthy said during an interview on ABC News this week. As I said, I'm coming to you from the offices of Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. We're a small nonprofit law firm. Everyone who started coming back to work, some of our, I guess most of the folks here are hybrid, so working partially from home, partially at work. Everyone in the office is vaccinated. And yet, last week, in thinking about what we still don't know about the virus, and of course we want to be guided by the science, we want to listen to the CDC, but there's still so much we don't know. We all went through so much over the past 18 months and really got the culture to change around wearing masks that I had a meeting with folks, and the executive director, I'm the deputy executive director, the executive director, Toby Oxholm, and I decided to have people wear masks in the office. Again, keep in mind, everybody here is fully vaccinated, but there's so much cohesive we don't know about this virus still, and with the new variant. And I ride public transportation now to work on a lot of days. I'm on the regional rails and I'm on SEPTA, and I see everybody has their mask on. So I'm not, I don't think it's a great imposition. I mean, I'm not wearing one now because it's 6 something and nobody else is in the office, but I just don't see it as an imposition. And I do think you're going to start to see other counties, especially since there are so many people out there who are not vaccinated. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I honestly feel that you're correct on that. We don't know, much about the Delta variant, and so we're seeing the numbers rise. That's the other thing as well. And so I haven't taken my mask. I'm fully vaccinated. Our listeners know that Solomon and I both contracted COVID last year, and so like for me, I'm gonna keep this little mask on here, and I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing to make sure that I stay safe. But then also just trying to be considerate for other people who may or may not be vaccinated, or maybe they can't be vaccinated at this time, because I know that I could potentially carry something to them. And so I do think that we will start to see in many counties across the country that they are going to reintroduce this mask mandate because of the fact that we just don't know how much this is going to really kind of blow up, and we don't want to see that happen. And so I think that we're going to probably start seeing more and more people masked back up again. I know for me, I always gotta say, as for me in my house, I'm gonna keep my mask on, just for the time being until I feel comfortable. And I think, that's okay. If you feel more comfortable, with your mask, then do what you have to do. But, I see that it probably will end up, we'll be seeing more, counties doing this.
Right. And I certainly made it clear to folks in the office that, if you feel strongly about not wearing your mask, well, you're not going to be sent home. You're certainly not going to lose your job. But everybody kind of went along. And I even put it to them in terms of, hey, I am the oldest person in this office, most at risk for, as we saw over the past 18 months, severe, consequences and impact of the virus. So, again, your point about being considerate for others. And it was very heartwarming for everybody. I mean, I work in an office, a lot of 20 and 30 somethings, they were all, no, this makes perfect sense. And I know you and Solomon have talked so much about, COVID and getting vaccinated. And, it's a conversation that, maybe during the course of the week, we can revisit, because I'm so concerned at the numbers of people who are not vaccinated. And I'm also not of the belief that it's just, well, I just don't want to do it. I remember standing out in that nor'easter back in February, COVID, or the COVID-19 Black Doctors Consortium, waiting hours to get my shot. And I saw lots of other people committed as well. We want the vaccination. I sometimes think that maybe we're not doing enough in terms of making it accessible. And, there are all sorts of different ideas on how we can do a better job of getting it to people. But it's a real concern. And, certainly things are better, but we are far from out of the woods as the Delta variant is making it clear. I think we have time for maybe one more news story. I like to blab, so I'm sorry, I apologize for that. And it's fun talking to you, Koisa. But this next story, great job on picking it, because I think it sort of speaks to whatever measures necessary. Denying Republicans a quorum to enact voting restrictions will cost Texas Democrats north of $1 million, according to the state legislator leading the fundraising effort. More than 50 Democratic members of the State House fled Austin, Texas for Washington, D.C., paralyzing the House there just as the GOP was advancing sweeping changes in elections during a special session. Under the Texas Constitution, the legislature requires a quorum of 2/3 of lawmakers to be present to conduct state business in either chamber. That's why the 50 Democratic members, they left. They came to D.C. I think that you have to do whatever you have to do in the moment to stop something like this, because the actions that the Texas legislature are trying to put into place are going to set back voting rights for decades. Now, the price of keeping the Democrats out of Texas through August 7th, which is what they're targeting, when the session there expires. So if they can stay out until August 2nd, then the legislature can't do what they want to do. Well, the cost is expected to be at $1.5 million, but it's not coming out of taxpayers' pockets, which is what the Republican governor is saying. This money was raised by the House Democratic Caucus. They chartered a flight, they booked the hotel rooms, and again, they said it's all being paid out of funds that the Democratic Caucus has raised. I will note that one of the members of the delegation tested positive for COVID, even though all were fully vaccinated. So that may have some impact in terms of how they're able to interact with members of Congress in DC around lobbying. But to me, this price tag is well worth it. We can't just say, our voting rights can't be violated. We have to do whatever within, legal bounds we can do. And to me, this is a creative, innovative way to stop the devil making, if you will, of the Texas legislature. Koisa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that, the cost is well worth it. I really do. When you think about the fact that Black folks have, been out here, basically carrying this country on our backs for hundreds of years, for me, $1 million, okay, so that's fine. That's totally fine for me. I'm okay with it because, the Republicans at this point are playing dirty, and you gotta meet them at their game. Like, it's not, we're not in a situation anymore we can just kind of sit back and twiddle our thumbs and not put up a fight. And so I think that it is necessary. This bill is necessary. I don't care. I really don't care how it gets paid. I think that it's important to make sure that they take a stand. And so I'm here for whatever the cost may be.
Me too. I admire their creativity. Now, I mean, I remember from TV, you have to pay attention to the time. So I think we're coming up on a break. This is Wake Up with Word. I'm Renee Chanel-Fatah, guest hosting today for Solomon Jones with the amazing Kawesa Mathis. We will be back. We certainly want to hear from you. We want you to call. We've got guests, but really the people we want to hear from are you, the WURD family. Please call 215-634-8065 or toll free 866-361-0900. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at onWURD. We're right back.
North Philly,
Center City,
Norristown,
West Philly.
I ride SEPTA everywhere.
every place.
every day. Into, out of, and all around the city.
SEPTA is the hometown way to go.
Ride with us at iseptaphilly.com.
Star Fusion Express is Philly's first choice when cravings for big, juicy burgers, crispy chicken sandwiches, delicious wings, crisp salads, creamy mac and cheese, innovative spring rolls, and delectable fresh seafood kicks in. Did you hear that? Star Fusion Express at 5178 Parkside Avenue in West Philly is your go-to for fresh, flavorful, homemade deliciousness 7 days a week. Learn more and check out the menu at starfusionrestaurant.com. That's starfusionrestaurant.com for the best burgers, chicken sandwiches, wings, salads, spring rolls, and fresh seafood creations in Philly's Parkside neighborhood. Holla!
The Holistic Colonoscopy. No IV sedation. Your colonoscopy is due. You don't have someone to drive you home. You don't want to drink the PrEP. You don't want to be sedated with the Michael Jackson drug propofol. Does that sound like you? Call Blake Gastroenterology at 215-849-4902. Visit the website www.jsblake.com and make your appointment today. Drive yourself home after the Holistic Colonoscopy.
I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean when it happened. There was a sudden jolt and our submarine crashed on the seafloor. We were in total darkness.
That's Dr. Dejana Figueroa, a marine biologist and STEM teacher, talking about a deep sea dive she'll never forget.
It's funny, when I was a kid, I was afraid of the ocean, and there I was, 2 miles below the surface. But as a scientist, you prepare for that. Using our training and a little creativity, we fixed the sub and finished our experiments. The dive was just too important. Every dive gives us glimpses at things few people ever get to see. Glowing creatures, fiery undersea volcanoes. When we got back to the surface, I kissed the ground and called my mom, of course. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that dive for anything.
Dr. Figueroa uses her passion for STEM to discover new things and make the world a better place. She can STEM, so can you. Check out She Can STEM for more stories and inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Want the latest in WURD swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk media. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Indeed.com. 95 southbound, jam right Cobman down through Girard. Again, southbound, watch for slowing between the Commodore Barry and Highland Avenue. Northbound side, your jam from Market Street 452 up to Curlin. Center lane blocked there with construction. Schuylkill eastbound, Montgomery to Spring Garden. Busy westbound, heavy broad past Young through work. Again, from City out through Belmont. Southbound Boulevard, Route 1 now is getting a bit busy from 9th Street down to Wissahickon through construction. 55 northbound, jamming Deptford in the 42. Shift hiring gears with Indeed. They go beyond the resume with 135 skill tests that help candidates show their abilities in things like computer proficiency or customer service. Indeed's skill tests reduce hiring time by 27% on average. Visit Indeed.com/credit. For more traffic information, log on to SIGAlert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Sunny skies on a hot summer day today. 92 the high this afternoon. Low of 72 Wednesday morning. We'll see sunshine in the morning with clouds popping up in the afternoon with a cold front bringing us a few showers and a possibility of some thunderstorms. High near 90 on Wednesday. Once the cold front passes by, dry, comfortable air arrives for Thursday. Partly sunny and 85 the high. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
And welcome to Wake Up with WURD. I'm Renee Chenault Fatai, your guest host on this Tuesday. I'm with producer Kawesa Mathis, and we certainly want to hear from you. Please call 215-634-8065 or toll free 866-361-0900. My first guest, and I'm so excited that she called in early on a Tuesday morning. Currently in her third term, council member Cindy Bass is known for her accessibility and numerous outreach events designed to empower, engage, and inform her constituents throughout the 8th District. Her work as the chair of City Council's Committee on Parks and Recreation, recently appointed chair of the Council Committee on Public Health and Human Services. The council member is planning an aggressive and comprehensive agenda to promote public health, recognizing the disconnect between the number of individuals without quality health care in Philadelphia, as well as our city's reputation as one of the largest and best healthcare networks in the world. That disconnect needs to be addressed, and the council member knows it. She recently joined forces with other lawmakers calling for permanent child tax credit payments and so much more. Council member, it's so good to have you with us this morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's always a pleasure to be with Renee Chenault Fatai. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad you're the guest because we're friends, so you can walk me through this. You know, there are so many things that I could talk to you about, but I guess one of the things that I'm so excited on and really want you to sort of walk us through it and tell us about it is the Promise Trust Fund, because you know, the job that I have right now, Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity, we're looking at lifting people out of poverty through clearing records to provide work opportunities and education opportunities. But the idea is to start before then. You know, this is like a lifelong progression. And what I love about the Promise Trust Fund is you're getting our kids and our future at the beginning.
That's right. That's right. Well, I'm so excited about the Philadelphia Promise Trust Fund. This is something that we passed a resolution in City Council back in June, a resolution calling for us to enact a Promise Trust Fund. And this is something that's being done around the country and really around the world. They're doing it throughout the United Kingdom. They're doing it in other cities here in the city, throughout the country. And this is something that I think is really going to be a way of the future if you want to seriously address poverty in any of these areas. And what the Promise Trust Fund is a concept that we would set aside $500 million. That $500 million would be used to support, uplift, give a different direction and a different future for our young people. And the way it would work is, so once you turn 18, you would have up until your 30th birthday, so you would have essentially 12 years to use the endowment from the fund, which is the interest from the fund, to do one of a number of things. That money could be, we estimate, roughly around $10,000 per young person, which is substantial, I think. And you can use it for, let's say you want to go to college. It's your last dollar scholarship. Let's say you want to start a business. You could go through a city-sponsored entrepreneurial program. So, for example, like the Business Center at New Covenant, run by Pam Rich Wheeler. You could go through a program like that and then qualify to get your funding. You could want to buy a house. And, you know, there's your down payment or closing cost assistance or whatever you needed or fix up money or whatever it may be. But the idea is to sow into these young people like it's never been done before. And I believe we can do it. It is being done in other places. And so why not focus on our young people, make sure that they know that they have a future. And, Renee, you know, we all know those great news stories. I know you covered a number of them where you would have a philanthropist who would come forward and say, I'm going to pay for this whole kindergarten class to go to college, right? And so they would follow these young people through the years, and, just everybody would stay on track. And you might have, out of a class of 30 students, you might have one or two that might not reach the end goal, but overwhelmingly you would see a different result. That's what this is. If young people know that there's something waiting for them, at the end of the day, they're going to conduct themselves differently. There's going to be a different outcome for what we see today for our young people. They're less likely to be engaged in some of the foolishness that we see. They see that there is a future for them. And it doesn't necessarily have to be for college, because college isn't for everybody. But if you want to start a business, you want a house down payment, you want something that's going to propel your life forward and help you create wealth, that's what the Philadelphia Promise Trust Fund would do. And we've been working on that fast and furious since it was introduced back in June, and we're going to continue to do so and hope to have some movement, hopefully in 2022 on this.
The hope element and aspect, I think, is so crucial, because you referenced, when a philanthropist comes in and says, we'll provide you with, money at the end of this journey, that gives you reason. And that's how this is operating, I think. And those people who would say 500 million, that's a lot of money, where are you getting it from? The money is there. I not that it's analogous, but I look at the money that's spent, sending people to the moon, or not even to the moon, but just into upper space or upper air or atmosphere. So it's like, if we have a will, absolutely. Cindy, something else I wanted to talk to you about, and I know this is going back a ways, but you had sent a letter to, and this is again about our kids. You sent a letter to Mayor Kinney urging him to fund Ready to Swim, and that's of course the initiative that offers lifeguard training for neighborhood residents. We just came out of a heat wave. We know climate change is real. There are reports that tell us that, the temperatures in urban communities are actually higher because of the lack of green space and trees and pavement. Where does that stand right now? What's happening with that? Because again, that's key.
Well, we're continuing to press this administration, but I have to tell you, Renee, I am completely flabbergasted and appalled that we have not seen the level of support in our neighborhoods that we need to see. And so I just want to pivot just a little bit, but it's all related to, what's happening in our streets, the crime and violence that we see of our young people shooting other young people. They need things to do. They need activities. I saw a group of young men yesterday working at a gas station asking people, can I pump your gas? Can I pump your gas? And, I was with my sister, and I said to her, I really want to find a way to reach that young person, because they're not going to necessarily be hanging out in the rec center. Listen, they're not signing up for arts and crafts and whatnot. They need something to do that's going to be productive and is also going to put a couple of dollars in their pocket and keep them out of foolishness. We need to reach our young people, and we're not doing it. I am just so outraged at the response that Mayor Kinney gave to my fellow colleague, Councilwoman Jamie Gauthier, basically patting himself on the back in terms of the work that's being done by his administration to combat violence in our communities. It's absolutely outrageous. And just going back to the pool situation, we still have pools that are unopened. I wrote to Commissioner Catherine Ott-Level last week asking her what pools are still not open. I'd like a listing of all pools that are not open yet, and when are they going to open? We'll be in August in a minute, okay? And then they close in mid-August because they haven't properly prepared to make sure that we have the staffing in place. We need to make sure that we have all of the amenities in our neighborhoods that they have in other places, other parts of this city. And so, I asked her also, where are the handicap accessible lifts, so that if I'm in a wheelchair, I can still get into a pool and swim. If I have a disability, a physical disability, I can still get into a pool and swim. Well, let me tell you, out of the 7 or 8 lifts, almost all of them were in Northeast Philadelphia. There was one in Roxborough, and there was one in South Philadelphia, in sort of like the Bella Vista area. Unacceptable. And then you want to close Carousel House on top of it. There's a lot of work that needs to be done around our parks and recreation system, and I just want to encourage the citizens of Philadelphia to stay vigilant, stay on top of it, talk to your member of council, talk to the administration, reach out to the mayor's office, let them know how you feel, because we are fighting this fight for our kids. We have to save our kids, and we all need to be in to do it, and that includes this mayoral administration. Whether they know it or not or accept it or not, they have to be a vibrant part of making sure that this city works.
And Cindy, I'm so happy you touched on this gun violence and the anti-violence emergency matter. I've been trying to, and I'm going to be offline with you because I would love to have Councilmember Gauthier on talking about this, because we know what the problems are. Studies come out saying that the zip codes with the highest unemployment are the zip codes with the highest number of gun violence and gun related incidents. So you're right. People need to, let their voice be heard. I really appreciate you coming on, and certainly we'll be following up with you. But thank you so much, Council members. Yes.
Renee, can I add just one other thing really quickly? Is that this is all connected to the Philadelphia Promise Trust Fund, because if we can put $500 million, which is the price tag on the rebuild program, if we can put $500 million into buildings, we can invest it in our young people.
We'll let that be the last word. Thank you, Cindy. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. And just real quick, and I'm sorry, Brother Joe, I wanted to have more time. Are you still on the line with us?
Yes, ma'am, Sister Renee. How you doing? Can you hear me?
I'm good. Thank you for hanging in there. How are you doing? So good to hear you.
I'm fine, Sister Renee. Hello to you and your wonderful producer, Quaster. I just want to say a couple of things real quick, Sister Renee.
Sure.
First off, I agree with you and Quaster 100% about the insurrection. ABC sees to white America, portions of white America try to put this thing on there that these people have been victims of an injustice or bad or wrong judgment. Everybody, black and brown people. First of all, like I told Quincy Renee, you would have had dead black bodies all over the Capitol steps. I mean, they shoot black men, unarmed black men and women with no weapons. These white boys was beating them with sticks, baseball bats, fire extinguishers, and yet not one white person was shot down on the steps of the Capitol, except for that white woman that broke into the Capitol. She was the only one that was shot. But my point is that they use kid gloves with these white thugs and white terrorists, which we all know they wouldn't have did with black people. I mean, people need to just tell the truth and stop the sugarcoating it. And I don't care how many black men and women who they get on these conservative shows, these whole times, sit there and espouse a different narrative. When everybody knows a black man and woman living in America, what the deal would have been had these been Black Lives Matter or somebody, how they would have been treated, as opposed to these white thugs that stormed the Capitol and stuff, And lastly, Sister Renee, Jeff Bezos. So just to show the mentality of this white man we live under, you got people living in the streets of America, Sister Renee, out there starving, they're homeless, and many of the people are vets. They serve this country. I see them downtown a lot of times, homeless vets and stuff. They serve this country. And this guy can go up to space, waste the money and stuff to go up there for some idiotic mentality to go up in space when people down here on this earth suffering, and yet the company he owns, Amazon. As we speak right now, Renee, they tried to start a union there down in Alabama the other year when predominantly people of color. They intimidated those people not to start a union, but Jeff Bezos enjoys his billions. People work under sex slave conditions, Sister Renee. They scared they come back from a break, a lunch break, or a regular break, a minute late, they can get docked at $20, whatever pay. These people was driving around and stuff, especially drivers and even people on the plant floor. They was using bottles, Sister Renee. They were using bottles to defecate and urinate in because they were scared they come back late from break, they could lose money, they could dock money. I mean, everybody should have to work under those kind of conditions. But by this guy enjoys his billions and go up to space, his workers working in slave conditions. It just should tell you the mentality of the Donald Trump type mentality that permeates this country now, Sister Renee. And I thank you for letting me express myself.
Brother Joe, thank you so much for calling in. You always are there to keep us on track. So I really appreciate you taking the time to call in for me. this morning. I think we're coming up on a break here. This is Wake Up with Word. I'm Renee Chanel Fatah, guest hosting today for Solomon Jones. We will be right back after the break. Stay with us.
Between family dinners, bedtime stories, and study sessions, Pico knows that life never stops moving. So if you need help paying your energy bills, there are financial programs available, like the Customer Assistance Program, or CAP, that offers a monthly credit that can lower your gas and electricity payments. Learn how Pico can help keep your life moving with CAP. See if you qualify at pico.com/CAP.
What's up, Philly? It's Solomon. With so much uncertainty surrounding the upcoming school year, now is the time to take charge of your child's education and give them the tools to make learning fun and safe. Check out Commonwealth Charter Academy, which can make a difference in your child's life. Commonwealth Charter Academy, or CCA, is a K-12 public cyber charter school with nearly 20 years of experience providing a flexible, stable, online education in the comfort of your home. Enroll today at ccaeducate.me. Your child will receive 1. A world-class accredited education streamed directly into your home at no cost to you. 2. A laptop, headphones, assistance with accessing the internet, and learning materials all provided at no cost to you. 3. A safe learning environment with no bullying or security concerns. Join the nearly 2,500 students from Philly who already attend CCA. The school year begins September 8th. Enroll now at ccaeducate.me.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, when you complete a job, you feel so much better. You'll sleep better, you'll feel satisfied, you may even cook a fancy meal and share it with a neighbor when you complete a job. You will rest better and breathe. Breathe, everybody. Let me hear you breathe. Whew, breathe again, breathe again. It's very important to breathe. Say, you have completed a job. Well, after the job is completed, it's time to dance. It's time to tap your feet. And you're going to listen to something called Shake, Rattle, and Roll by Joe Turner. Here it comes.
Shake, rattle, and roll. Shake, rattle, and roll. Shake, rattle, and roll. Shake, rattle, and roll. Well, you won't do right. Save your doggone soul.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Maybe you're not sure how you'll make rent, or you lost your job. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light. Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need.
211, how can I help you?
Call or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected. Get help. A message from United Way and the Ad Council.
The WURD Radio newsletter, keeping you informed, engaged, and connected. Sign up by visiting WURDradio.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and type your email address under Connect with Us. You'll receive the latest information on WURD Radio, messages from our president and CEO, Sarah Lomax Reese, exclusive articles and multimedia content, and resources. Stay informed with the WURD Radio newsletter. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Staples Store. Some volume busy on the Schuylkill Expressway, eastbound Boulevard through Girard, westbound Jam Broad to Passyunk. Busy Girard to Montgomery, jammed again the Boulevard out to Belmont. Now the Boulevard Route 1 southbound, you're jammed up there, 9th Street down to Wissahickon through construction. Westbound Vine delays 8th out the Broad Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Southbound 95, you're jammed Cotman down through Girard. Northbound side, you're jammed from 452 up to Curlin Center Lane. Construction there. The reason, 55 northbound still a jam from Deptford in the 42. Staples Connect has amazing prices for everything on your back-to-school list. Right now, 8 packs of Pep Rally #2 pencils, Staples pencil cap erasers, and Staples comp books, just 50 cents each. Offer ends 9/18/21. Pencils available in-store only. Offer may vary online. Staples. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Sunny skies on a hot summer day today, 92 the high this afternoon. Low of 72 Wednesday morning. We'll see sunshine in the morning with clouds popping up in the afternoon with a cold front bringing us a few showers and a possibility of some thunderstorms. High near 90 on Wednesday. Once the cold front passes by, dry, comfortable air arrives for Thursday, partly sunny and 85 the high. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Let boys be boys, let girls be girls. Welcome back to Wake Up with WURD. I'm Renee Chanel Fatah, your Tuesday guest host with producer Kawesa Mathis, always playing great music for us. We certainly want to hear from you this Tuesday morning. I'm guest hosting for Solomon Jones. You can call in at 215-634-8065 or toll free 866-361-0900. I started off talking this morning about how I just recently started a new job as Deputy Executive Director at Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. We are a nonprofit law firm for low-income residents of Philadelphia who have been criminally involved with the justice system. From that involvement, have a criminal record, and we work to help either through expungements or pardons to clear that record. These are people who maybe had a record 5, 10, 15 years ago, have gone on to do great things, have not been at all involved in the criminal justice system since, but are being held back by this record. This record is a shackle, whether it's keeping you from a better job, keeping you from an education opportunity, keeping you from housing, keeping you from even coaching your child's little league or going on a field trip. So that's our focus. I'm actually coming to you this morning from the offices of Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. And I want to bring on now a person, I don't even know where to start with Reverend Michelle Simmons, but let me just tell you a little bit about her bio. Reverend Dr. Michelle Ann Simmons is the founder and currently serves as Chief Executive Officer of Why Not Prosper. In 2008, Reverend Michelle graduated from Chestnut Hill College with a bachelor's degree in human services. December 2010, she graduated with a master's degree in counseling psychology. She's a certified allied addictions practitioner and a certified domestic violence counselor. In addition, she received her doctorate in ministry from Friends International Christian Academy. Reverend Michelle was formerly incarcerated. She's a recovering addict. She's an extraordinary woman and role model. She says her mission is to help women from prison systems discover their own strength by providing them with the support and resources that will empower them to become responsible, self-sufficient, and contributing members of the community. She has been on the steering committee, and she's going to talk a little bit about what's involved there, of the Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity, and she recently came on our board of directors. Reverend Michelle, I don't even know where to begin with all of the things you do and bring to the table. But first, let me just say, it's so good to have you with us this morning on WURD.
Hey, thank you, Renee. It's so good to be here with you.
Now, you know, you and I, we met each other several years ago, and it was really sort of my first introduction to Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. I was asked by a friend to volunteer time putting together videos interviewing people in various stages of the pardon process, and you were one of the people who I interviewed, and we had, I remember us having breakfast together, I think at the Breakfast Boutique, and I was just so blown away by everything you've done and and how you have made this journey and making such an impact. So just maybe talk a little bit about that journey. And of course, we want to talk about Why Not Prosper and the gala, the fundraiser that's coming up next month. But I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, for listening in today. Renee, thank you for all you do. And, yes, we've had several experiences and journeys together, and one being that part and process. And that's why I got up so early. I felt it was important to let the listening audience, let our 400,000-plus people know that we're returning records. You could get that thing expunged. You could get it and there are some steps you got to take, but now is the time, people. Some people want to do better and have better. I've been walking around saying, Renee, for the last year, this is open heaven season, okay? It's a spiritual term that the Bible uses when you pay your tithes, but it is also very true right now. And it seems like God wants to bless us, and I hope nobody don't get disrespected or offended by God. You can call him whatever you want, okay? But it is open heaven time. But ain't nothing dropping out the sky on your lap. Ain't nobody going to come knock on your door with a package. We got to put our feet to the concrete and go make it happen. So Philadelphia for Lawyers for Social Equity is definitely on the map as it relates to helping people get pardoned and expungements. And, Service is my middle name. They should call me Michelle, Reverend Michelle Service Simmons, okay? Praise the Lord. That's my heartbeat. I love to serve. And Renee mentioned to the audience and to the listening body today that I'm the founder and chief executive officer of Why Not Prosper, and that is true. And let me tell you, that has been a journey. Why Not Prosper was started when I had 8 months clean from drugs and alcohol. I had just got released from Los Angeles County Jail, and I was like, okay, God, what you going to do with me now? Because I had a bunch of trauma, a bunch of addiction, a bunch of incarceration. I didn't know who I was or which way I was going. And I literally begged my mom from the prison to let me in. I said, please, God, come to your house. And she was like, Missy, no. But long story short, on this long walk to her house, God gave me a vision to open Why Not Prosper, which is a transitional house for nobody that don't know or anyone that don't know, for women coming from prison. And we're celebrating 20 years. We talked about, Renee mentioned the gala, and we are celebrating, y'all. We're celebrating God, for one, because I love him so much. And then we're going to celebrate the women that are so amazing, that got the courage to stand up in the midst of a pig's pen. Like some people just lay in the slop. Oh, the Holy Spirit moving today with these downloads, Renee. I don't know if you catch it, though, but my wording is straight being downloaded. But, yeah, the ladies are standing up straight. They are removing the crutches, and they are marching on. And we're going to celebrate some of them on August 28th.
And, Reverend Michelle, I'm going to make sure, like, when I get off the air, that we put in the information on the website, and I'll send it out on social media so people know, the details and how they can participate in the gala. And also, later this week, we're going to be talking with Taylor Pacheco from Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity, and she can walk people through what the process is for getting an expungement. And when you don't qualify and that doesn't completely clear your record, how you can get a pardon and how Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity can help you with that. Could you talk, because we're running out of time, and I've got to get, I'm new at this, but could you talk just a little bit about your involvement with the steering committee, because of Philadelphia Lawyers? Because later today we're going to have Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, who of course is the chair of the Board of Pardons, come on. But if you could talk just a little bit about that, because your committee has been phenomenal in terms of bringing about pardon reform.
Okay, excellent. So the the steering committee, our goal and our mission is to look at the policy as it relates to pardons. There's so many other tentacles hanging, but we want to do the policy advocacy thing. So what we've done so far is we looked at the application, and it had all of these questions on it that really didn't pertain to the current. So we asked them to scratch those questions. Number two, real quick, we also asked them to dismantle or take away the letter asking you to waive your rights, okay? We want you to fill it out. We want you to feel comfortable, and we want you to be able to not waive your rights because you can't get some documents. And so we've been very successful with asking the board to make some adjustments and changes to the application, to the process, and we have got mostly all wins as it relates to changing that process. So it better serves us black and brown people, and it's better non-discriminatory and racist.
Absolutely. And, you know, the power of that is that everybody on the steering committee has been involved in the criminal justice system, has a record. And it's that sort of not about us without us. Who better to talk about the reforms that are needed than people who have been impacted and are currently impacted. So I just think it's one more powerful thing that is taking place at Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. And I promise to put all the information on the website about the gala. But Reverend Michelle Simmons, thank you so much for taking time early on a Tuesday morning. And
it's no problem. It's no
I sort
problem.
of feel like I went to church a little bit. So thank you, Reverend Michelle. Talk to you
All right.
later. Okay.
All right, thank you. Have a great day, everyone. All right. Bye-bye.
And we are going to head into break, but we certainly want to hear from you. This is Wake Up with WURD. I'm Renee Chenault-Fatah, hosting for Solomon Jones. Make sure on the other side you can call in at 215-634-8065. We'll be right back.
At Bank of America, we believe in the power of action. That's why we've expanded our efforts to advance racial equality and economic opportunity with an additional $1.25 billion to drive impact.
I'm Jim Dever, President of Bank of America, Greater Philadelphia. My teammates and I are proud of our ongoing partnership with Urban League of Philadelphia. Together, we're connecting more people to new skills and better jobs. What would you like the power to do?
Bank of America, N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
For the past 10 years, Comcast has been helping students get ready. We've connected 5 million students from low-income families to low-cost, high-speed internet. We're working with both nonprofit partners and city leaders to create over 1,000 Wi-Fi connected lift zones in community centers nationwide. And now we're committing $1 billion to reach 50 million people with the connectivity, skills, training, and the resources they need to succeed in a digital world. Learn more at comcast.com/education.
Join Nick Taliaferro Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. for a very special simulcast conversation on WURD and WVON Radio in Chicago. Hosted by WURD's own Nick Taliaferro and WVON's Matt McGill and Kimberly E. Goen on the impact of violence in Philadelphia and Chicago. That's Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. exclusively on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com. Simulcast on WVON. Two of the only black-owned talk radio stations in the nation join forces for a powerful and timely conversation. This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD. This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent Black Media. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Independent Black Media.
Join WURD for the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour. This year, we celebrate West Oak Lane, Mantua, North, West, and South Philly. WURD's Tiffany Bacon will broadcast live from a different neighborhood each Friday from 7 a.m. to 12 noon. Our next stop, North Philly's Penrose Playground, 1101 West Susquehanna Avenue. It's this coming Friday, July 23rd. Enjoy a special feature on the Summer Olympics, meet special guests, and stand with WURD. Be a part of the movement to amplify the voice of the Black community. Show your support. Join or renew your WURD membership, I need to do that, on site. Join us as we broadcast from the Recreation Center at Penrose Playground from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. WURD, showing love this summer. And welcome back to Wake Up with WURD. I'm Renee Chenault Fatah, hosting this Tuesday for Solomon Jones. And of course, I'm with Koesa Mathis playing that great music for us. As I started telling you, I guess at the top of the last hour, about a month and a half ago, I started at Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. And on my first day at work, Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity sponsored a town hall discussing life without the possibility of parole for second-degree murder. Two of the participants in that town hall were Leader Joanna McClinton and Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman. Now, the town hall was based on a report that had been commissioned by Lieutenant Governor Fetterman. He had asked us to do this report looking at an assessment of race as it related to life without parole for second-degree murder. Just a little bit of background. Life without possibility of parole for second-degree murder is a statute which requires a judge to impose a mandatory life sentence on anyone convicted of participating in a felony that's related to someone's death, including those who did not directly cause the death of the victim and or had no intention of killing. In other words, they're the ones who drove the getaway car, or the victim had a heart attack in the process of the robbery, but the person charged with second degree did not do that. So it's because you're in a certain place. It's a situational sort of crime. And as the report found, 3/4, 73% of the second degree population were 25 or a year younger at the time of the offense. And that 4 out of 5 people convicted of second degree murder in Pennsylvania are people of color. And 7 out of 10, 69% are African American. You heard me emphasize the age, those being 25 or younger at the time of conviction, because that's important, because we know from research, science tells us that the neurological maturity of young people is not there. The prefrontal cortex of the brain and the ability to weigh consequences doesn't even mature until 25. So this town hall was to address the sort of inequity around this law. There are only 2 states in the country that have this law, Pennsylvania, and the other one is Louisiana. Well, at that town hall, and she made such an impact and such an impression, and I'm so thankful that she's here with us this morning to talk about issues of social justice and criminal justice reform, is of course Leader Joanna McClinton. I just want to do just a quick bio because it's so impressive, and I apologize in advance because I'm leaving out a lot, but Leader Joanna McClinton serves the people of the 191st District. She became the first African American and woman to be elected as the House Democratic Caucus Chair for the 2019-2020 legislative session. And then in November of 2020, she was elected by her peers as the Democratic leader. She is the first woman to serve as a floor leader in the history of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. Representative McClinton has been acknowledged for her commitment to public service and enhancing the quality of life for residents in Philadelphia and Delaware County. And I'm going to stop there because I don't want to run out of time talking with you. Leader McClinton, thank you so much for taking time on a Tuesday morning to call into WURD. How are you?
I'm doing well, Renee, and I'm sure I join all the WURD listeners when I say it's great to hear your voice. And glad to, for those who can see you, I just finished working out, so I'm on the phone.
You're my hero, and I'm not going to share the secret that you, that's between us, okay?
Thank you.
Oh, gosh. You know, I thought in the feedback after that town hall, the consensus was your comments were were so impactful, so powerful. And it's clear you come to this issue with a commitment around advocacy, a wealth of experience. I think back to when you were in, Anthony Hardy Williams' office, and you were, as his chief counsel, holding expungement fairs. This issue is not new to you.
That's right, Renee. I was also fortunate and blessed to be a public defender in our city and for almost 10 years, and working with people who are both impoverished and accused. They find themselves at some very serious crossroads, and we know that the justice system is not always just. People like to say, oh, folks make mistakes, but I have seen the justice system make mistakes. And as we're thinking about more than 1,000 people who are in prison serving life without parole for second-degree murder, where they did not do the killing, they did not, in fact, cause the death of any person, but they were unfortunately with somebody who did. These folks are 70% Black, they're 97% male, and it is very difficult for them to have any sort of opportunity to have redemption. And we all know that crime is a problem. We are meeting, after my first meeting after this call is with our district attorney, because we are very concerned about the rise in violent crime in our city. But I want all the WURD family to know that it doesn't mean that after, for instance, 3 decades, someone who is convicted of second degree shouldn't have the chance to be able to come back home and redeem themselves.
Leader McClinton, I'm so glad you said that, because there's pushback when you talk about this issue. People are not, everybody acknowledges that there is a rise in violent crime, but we have to use our brains. We're not talking about, and I'm now thinking about the pardon process, or even, somebody who has served 20 years and we know that as people age, they sort of age out of crime. But when you talk about a pardon or expungement, it's not like you're talking about letting people out and, adding to some sort of crime wave. These are our neighbors. These people have been out for 5, 10, 15 years, haven't been involved in any sort of illegal criminal activity, but are not being allowed to live up to their potential. And I think we can have both conversations. We can talk about what are we going to do, targeted solutions to violent crime, and we can talk about just what you said, the injustice of the crime system or the criminal justice system, which has created such a barrier on people that look like you and me.
That's right. And the challenge that we have in today's society is recognizing the fact that the juvenile lifers, for instance, they have been out of jail, thank goodness. So many of them are getting out. They got resentenced in the last several years. And you have not heard, and I believe, knock on wood, that you will not hear of any awful incidents occurring with these folks. Because as you said, with you aging, just like all of us getting different challenges as we age, you age out of being a recidivist, meaning going back to jail, going back to a criminal lifestyle. You have to understand that the time out that these men and women have had is in the decades. It's not been 11 and a half to 23 months. It's been 30 years. So understand that when you have been incarcerated for 30 years and you get the privilege to return back to society and make something positive out of your life and reconnect with your loved ones, you are not looking to get into illegal activities, crimes, anything that was familiar to you or maybe wasn't, decades before, because we're also hearing about folks getting out that were innocent. I think about Eric Riddick, whose mother lives in my district and met with me many times, and we sent advocacy letters to our DA and others trying to make sure that his case was reopened. You have to realize that everybody in custody is also not guilty. That's a problem that we've seen. Philadelphia was the most over-incarcerated city in the East Coast by per capita. The number of our folks who are in state prison and even still serving life sentences, we have a responsibility to ensure that at the appropriate time there's a pathway to redemption. The problem now is there's not even a pathway to get redeemed.
Exactly. What can people do? How can, we could talk about voting and the importance of getting to the polls, but what do you say to listeners? How can we mobilize around this?
So the organization that you are now part of the leadership team, Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. I encourage people to go to their social media, to go to your website so that you can see the different movements you all have, clearing records and doing criminal justice reform town halls. I have legislation to change the pardon process so it does not require a unanimous vote. We know that puts a lot of political pressure on people, making that decision for giving someone the opportunity to come back out. The bill that I've been working on require a majority vote, so 3 out of 5 of the Board of Pardons, and that would really help take some of the political pressure off. Because the other thing is, if we're having honest conversation, because we're with our WURD family, people don't want to say, oh, it was Joanna McClinton that got this person out, and then, God forbid, something awful happened. So there's a lot of hesitation. Folks say, oh, well, I know you're in jail. I know you're not going to be out committing any crimes, without taking a full picture at what someone has done and how they've been able to even show while in custody, going to school, being a part of, community groups and mentorships, ways that they've been positively involved and not getting into any problems.
Exactly. And, I mentioned, how do you get people involved? I was listening to State Senator Vincent Hughes talking last week about, some of the challenges in Harrisburg and the importance of reaching across the aisle and getting consensus. I'm jumping around a little bit here, but you certainly have a track record of being able to do that. How in this climate are you able? I mean, what are the lessons we can learn from the successes that you've had in trying to get, because I mean, this is clearly in everyone's interest, both sides of the aisle, and yet it becomes politicized. And so how do we deal with that? How do we address that?
So the biggest thing I've learned is to just not get tired. I'm learning day by day what it means to be resilient and to not get tired of fighting. Because the moment we get tired of fighting, we could have been on the verge of getting the bipartisan support necessary for good legislation to come out of the House, to come out of the Senate. I had a bill I worked on that got signed into law just last fall, where people who are fully acquitted of nonviolent cases will get an automatic expungement. Now, Renee, not that it's long, because, I'm still in early years of service, public service, but the bill was out there for 5 years. For 5 whole years. It took, 3 legislative sessions to get it done, and the last time it moved out of the House, it sat in the Senate for a year. So imagine if you get discouraged, you get tired, you take things personally, you don't continue to reach out to your counterparts, letting them know why this is important and how this can benefit people, not just in my district, but across the whole Commonwealth. So the biggest key is that we have to keep fighting.
And, you mentioned that, Bill, and it's common sense. I think part of the frustration that people have, I mean, I've in doing this job, I'm focused on, telling people that this process can work for you, but it's almost as if intentionally the law makes it difficult. Why wouldn't you allow for an automatic, versus a person gets the pardon, the governor signs off on it, and then it has to go back to the court for the expungement, especially when most of these, I watched the public hearings 2 weeks ago, most of these are not violent offenses, most of them are drug offenses, they happened 15, 20 years ago. We have to, when you know better, you do better. We need to do better. We need to, common sense to make things more accessible for people.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that we have to continue to realize is that there are, in fact, barriers put up around someone once they get a conviction. And we as a society have to be very cautious. While we understand certain records may be indicative that somebody's violent or somebody has real serious challenges, there are other records that just end up being a wall. And if you get walled out of opportunities, you get walled out of job applications, you're blocked everywhere you go. You keep getting told no. You can't get federal financial aid. We've got to do the hard work to break those walls down so that people are fully reintegrated. We can't say, oh, start afresh, and there's nowhere for you to go and start. We have work to do. We still have to get, felony convictions, being able to take them off of records after years. We still have to make sure that there's no fines or costs anywhere keeping people from being able to get their records clear. So we're in it for the long haul, and I'm so excited to work with you in your new role as Philly Lawyers for Social Equity.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Leader. And I just wanted to just real quickly touch on that issue of fines and costs, because that's an area that Lieutenant Governor Fetterman is going to be coming on, and we want to talk to him about that. It's an issue that the Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity, we've been pushing. It makes no sense to say that we want people to lift themselves out of poverty by clearing this record so you can get a better job. And then you tell people, well, but you can't have your hearing before the Board of Pardons until you pay your fees and costs. That's why the person is seeking the pardon, so they can, have a better employment picture. And we did a study looking at our clients going back some 8 or 9 years, and the cost, about 70% of our clients have fees and costs totaling around $1,000 each. There's no way they can pay that. They're indigent. That's why they're our clients. We represent, low income individuals. So it's this sort of illogical, as you said, creating these barriers, walling people in, preventing people from, reaching their potential, saying we want you to do better and then not allowing it. So we've got a lot of work to do, and we're just really excited about the opportunity, Leader, to be able to work with you on this, because you truly have literally and figuratively been a leader on this issue. And we're just very appreciative.
Well, thank you, Renee. And I'll say I've been admiration of your work and your outspoken voice over the years. So I can't even believe I'm talking to you.
You grew up watching me, and I love hearing
I didn't say it like that.
No. It's funny. There was a time when somebody would say that to me, and I'd be like, well, I'm an adult. You're an adult. How in the world did you grow up watching me? I was on TV for 25 years. That's somebody's lifetime. So, no, I revel in that. I love it when people say it.
Because I'm going to tell my granny.
That's my audience. So give her my love. And Leader, again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk, and look forward to working with you. Keep up the great.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you so much. Well, we are going to head into break. We certainly want to hear from you. We've had some great guests. We got more ahead. We want you to stay with us. But I am Renee Chenault-Fatah, guest hosting on Wake Up with Word. We are at 900 AM and 96.1 FM. Please call in. The number is 215-634-8065. Toll free, it's 866-361-0900. And of course, you can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. You're on Twitter. It's at onWURD, ONWURD. And we are right back.
Between family dinners, bedtime stories, and study sessions, Pico knows that life never stops moving. So if your energy bills are adding up, Pico has programs available, like new payment options, flexible billing, and financial assistance to help you manage your bills and your budget for the essential energy you and your family need. Learn how Pico can help keep your life moving with payment arrangements. See if you qualify at pico.com/help.
Hey, WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Are you looking for a job? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and arts organizations. If you go to the portal right now, you will see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Her Foods, Always Best Care, and more. Apply for a job today. Go to our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
This report sponsored by Smart Mouth, the only 24-hour mouthwash with twice daily use. Schuylkill Expressway eastbound busy, 202 to Gulf Mills. Slip over to the curve again, the Boulevard to Spring Garden. Jammed again the Vine Expressway through University. Westbound Broad to pass Young Cabot University through South. Jammed again the Boulevard out to Belmont. Westbound Vine 8th out through Broadigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. A slow ride. Southbound Boulevard Route 1, you're jammed up from 9th Street down through Wissahickon through construction. Southbound 95, Cotman to Girard, jammed there. Northbound side, you're jammed from Market Street through Curlin. That is because of ongoing center lane construction. 55 northbound, a busy ride from Deptford in the 42. If someone jumps back because of your breath, you need Smart Mouth, a 24-hour mouthwash. You want to turn heads, but not like that. Smart Mouth, the only leading mouthwash that can provide 24 hours of fresh breath when used twice a day. Find Smart Mouth in the mouthwash aisle at CVS or visit smartmouth.com to find a retailer near you. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Sunny skies on a hot summer day today. 92 the high this afternoon. Low of 72 Wednesday morning. We'll see sunshine in the morning, but clouds popping up in the afternoon with a cold front bringing us a few showers and a possibility of some thunderstorms. High near 90 on Wednesday. Once the cold front passes by, dry, comfortable air rise for Thursday. Partly sunny and 85 the high. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
And welcome back to Wake Up with WURD. I'm Renee Chanel Fatah, your guest host. Having trouble talking here. Your guest host on this Tuesday, along with our producer, Koisa Mathis. We certainly want to hear from you. You can call in at 215-634-8065, or the toll-free number is 866-361-0900. We've been talking about the issue of pardon reform and criminal record clearing. And my next guest, I think, was dealing with this issue of returning citizens and giving people second chances long before anybody else was. A fourth-generation grocer, Jeff Brown, is the founder, president, and CEO of Brown Superstores, a network of 11 ShopRite and 2 Fresh Grocer supermarkets in the greater Philadelphia area. The WURD family knows ShopRite. The company estimates that it employs 500 returning citizens, often providing them with their first job after being released from prison. Jeff started this practice in 2008, making him one of the very first business leaders to act on the fact that it just makes sense for society to employ former inmates so they can remain crime-free and contribute to the economy. Jeff is also the founder and chair of Uplift Solutions, a nonprofit working to create sustainable access to healthy and affordable food. And for our purposes today, Jeff is also on the board of Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. He is the chair of our finance committee and board treasurer, and a man who really needs no introduction. Jeff, thank you so much for calling in this morning. It's so good to have you with us.
Thank you, Renee, for having me. And Koisa, good morning. I haven't talked to Koisa in a couple of days, so it's so good to be with her and Renee today.
So good to have you, Jeff. You know, we were talking with Leader McClinton about the importance of giving people an opportunity. Once they've served their time, you know, they've done what we've said society, democracy requires, it's important to give people an opportunity. It's the right thing to do, but it's also the economic, the smart thing to do. And I'd like for you to talk to us, maybe from a business perspective, what it's meant for ShopRite and what it's meant for the people who work for you and our community.
Yeah, well, a lot of communities that my stores are in really have been dealing with this mass incarceration, and it's had a devastating impact on the community, just affecting so many families that have at least one member that have been incarcerated. And the truth of the matter is, it's hard to establish a community, the economics of a community, if people can't really work. And, you know, once you have a record, a lot of employers, they don't really want to consider you. So the record is a heavy burden, and it seems like it's kind of the way, if you don't get a pardon or an expungement, it's almost like a life sentence. It never gets off your back, really. It never gets off your back. And so I think when people have returned home and they've proven themselves to have changed their lives around, we need to free them of that record. And, you know, in my place, we have, like you said, about 500 returning citizens. Some have been with me a long time, and they're in management positions or very good paying positions, specialties, making, you know, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 a year. And, you know, they still suffer from an inability to finance their new home. Sometimes people don't want to rent to them. And, you know, at some point, if someone made a mistake, they paid their debt to society, it's time to let them become a regular citizen again.
Jeff, what does this do to communities in terms of, I mean, I heard DA Larry Krasner and you talking about this, in terms of sort of condemning communities to being impoverished when you don't provide opportunity. I mean, not everybody is doing what you're doing, which is why Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity feels the need to you know, assist people with record clearing. But what does it mean for our communities and for Philadelphia?
Well, as is commonly referred to, Philadelphia is the poorest big city in the country. And I think this issue is very related to that outcome. If people can't have all of the possible opportunities for their career open to them, if it's severely restricted, like is the case with someone who has a record, where a lot of employers won't consider you, you're basically repressing people's chance to make a living, and you're really locking in a local community into poverty. And so what this has done is this has devised a way to keep people stuck in poverty without really a lot of opportunity to escape it. And that's why I think Pulse's work to clear people's records is really, it's good on a lot of different levels, but from an economic level, it really frees people to reach their potential.
And Jeff, I think your collaboration with Pulse, with Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity, is so important because you were someone who's always looking for bridging relationships and bringing people together. I think of a lunch that we had a couple of weeks ago. Your fave trash man is all the rage. Terrell Hagler is everywhere, and he came to you because he was interested in this issue. Could you share just a little bit about that conversation and what's going to come from it down the road?
Sure. So Terrell used to be a customer in my Fox Street store, him and his family, and they moved, so now they're a customer in my 24th and Oregon store. And we met, over social media, and we were discussing basically the problems we see in the world. How can we help make things better? And it just seemed to me, Terrell called me one day and he said, I want to start doing expungements. And I said to him, well, I'm glad to help you, but you don't have to do this on your own because Pulse is the largest nonprofit law firm that does expungements and pardons in the state. And we're geared up to do it. And so we had lunch, the three of us, and I think Terrell could be a great asset, to our team to promote our work and to send the message out to everyday people that you don't need to be stuck with this record. If you have your life in order, we can help you. Our work is pro bono. We don't charge the clients to get this done. And whatever opportunity you have currently, you might have upward potential if you didn't have that record around your neck. And Terrell, I think Terrell's going to really be an incredible partner to help us spread the word.
Absolutely. And I guess what I was going to say is that you have always, you make your stores available, whether it's allowing young entrepreneurs to, bring their products in and to give them a venue. You're allowing us to use, the store and the facilities for when we do this expungement clinic coming up with Terrell. I think back to a couple of years ago when I was working on my documentary and an organization needed a parking lot, and I reached out and you're like, absolutely, no problem. You make yourself available to the community, and that's powerful, my friend. So I just, anything else you'd like to add, or I'm new at this, so I'm trying to watch the clock. I'm like,
actually, you're not new at this, and I'm glad.
Well, no, I am.
You're back on the air, and you're doing a wonderful job, and your leadership at Pulse is just fantastic. How you're dedicating yourself to help others, and I love working with you, and I look forward to help everyone in Philadelphia get their records cleared up and help them see their potential. We'll live in a much better city when everyone can reach their potential.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Back at you. Thank you so much, Jeff. Jeff Brown, ShopRite. Make sure you visit a ShopRite store in a neighborhood near yours. Thanks so much, Jeff. You take care. Talk to you later. All right. Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity, Pulse, is sort of how we refer to ourselves. It's an opportunity to, you don't need to tell someone who has a criminal record what that criminal record is doing in terms of their opportunities and potential. They know it. They live it every day, whether it's that job, whether it's assisted living. I worked at Senior Law Center, and people in their 60s and 70s who maybe had a criminal record from when they were in their 20s were being prohibited from certain housing. So you don't have to tell people it impacts them. What we are trying to tell people is that there is something to do about it. And that really is the power of what we're doing at Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity and wanting to spread the word and share the word. And we've got some really important and powerful partners in this. I think we are going to go to break. And on the other side of the break, Lieutenant Governor Fetterman is going to join us. And I hope Giselle Fetterman is with him, because I'm a huge fan of hers and would love to be able to talk to her as well. Most importantly, we want to hear from our callers. The number is 215-634-8065. Toll free, that number is 866-361. I don't know why I have problems with the toll-free number. It's 866-361-0900. My name is Renee Chanel-Fatah. I'm guest hosting with the amazing, everybody knows Koeza. Notice how everybody acknowledges Koeza when they come on. But we will be right back with much more. Stay with us.
Students, parents, teachers, guardians, 100 Black Men of Philadelphia is offering free mentoring programs this summer to help provide an alternative to the gun violence plaguing our city. Our programs build character, body, and mind of our boys 1st to 12th grades through paid high school internships, book clubs, fishing, physical fitness, and more. Register today at www.100blackmenphilly.org and click events, or call 267-258-2900.
What's up, Philly? It's Sincerely Sarita. With so much uncertainty surrounding the upcoming school year, now is the time to take charge of your child's education and give them the tools to make learning fun and safe. Check out Commonwealth Charter Academy, which can make a difference in your child's life. Commonwealth Charter Academy, or CCA, is a K-12 public cyber charter school with nearly 20 years of experience providing a flexible, stable, online education in the comfort of your home. Enroll today at ccaeducate.me. Your child will receive 1. A world-class accredited education streamed directly into your home at no cost to you. 2. A laptop, headphones, assistance with accessing the internet, and learning materials, all provided at no cost to you. 3. A safe learning environment with no bullying or security concerns. Join the nearly 2,500 students from Philly who already attend CCA. The school year begins September 8th. Enroll now at ccaeducate.me.
For the past 10 years, Comcast has been helping students get ready. We've connected 5 million students from low-income families to low-cost, high-speed internet. We're working with both nonprofit partners and city leaders to create over 1,000 Wi-Fi connected lift zones in community centers nationwide. And now we're committing $1 billion to reach 50 million people with the connectivity, skills, training, and the resources they need to succeed in a digital world. Learn more at comcast.com/education.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you Mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Join Nick Taliaferro Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. for a very special simulcast conversation on WURD and WVON Radio in Chicago. Hosted by WURD's own Nick Taliaferro and WVON's Matt McGill and Kimberly E. Goen on the impact of violence in Philadelphia and Chicago. That's Wednesday, July 21st at 5 p.m. exclusively on WURD Radio and WURDradio.com. Simulcast on WVON. Two of the only black-owned talk radio stations in the nation join forces for a powerful and timely conversation. It's Wake Up with WURD, hosted by Solomon Jones.
Good morning.
Right now on WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
And welcome back to Wake Up with WURD, 900 AM, 96.1 FM. I'm Renee Chenault Fatah, your Tuesday guest host with producer Kaweza Mathis, who's keeping it real with all the terrific music. We want to hear from you. Please call 215-48065. Toll free, that number is 866-361-0900. We have been talking over the past hour or so about pardon reform, about expungement, the expungement process in Philadelphia, and pardon reform across the state of Pennsylvania. And the good news in all of this is that actually Pennsylvania is leading the nation in pardon reform. The number of applications, and this is really important, the number of applications received by the board each year has increased by over 500% since 2015. In 2020 alone, the volume of applications increased by 86%. More good news. More than 8 out of 10 of those recommended for pardons get it. So just last week, the board held its second of 4 public hearings of the year. It considered 131 pardon applications. It endorsed 110 of them. The board has heard 300 pardon appeals, which is a record pace. It's approved 256. That's a record number. That's 85% approved. So the point is, you go through this process, you have a great chance of success. Now, the person who is the chair of the Board of Pardons is Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman. He's a lifelong Pennsylvanian. As I said, he's the chairman of the Board of Pardons. That's the state agency in charge of hearing cases for pardons, as well as for commutation. The pardon is the forgiving crimes for people who are not currently incarcerated. And in the commutation process, that's reducing the sentence for people who are currently incarcerated. The Lieutenant Governor has renewed emphasis on second chances for deserving applicants, with the board, as you just heard from those statistics, recommending a record number of applicants. And joining us on the line right now is Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman. Lieutenant Governor, it's good to have you with us this morning.
It's so wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me on.
I'm having just a little bit of trouble hearing, and I know you're on the road, so we certainly appreciate you calling in. You know, it's so ironic. I hope you can hear me okay. It's so ironic that you would be on the line with us today. This is my second time for guest hosting. The first time I was guest hosting on WURD was in 2019, in April of 2019. And Secretary Brandon Flood, who had just been appointed by you, had just started at the Board of Pardons. And he was talking about his hopes for all of the great things that were to come. So for this to be my second chance at guest hosting, and now to be speaking to you, I think is pretty wonderful. So it's great to have you with us. And 2, if you could talk just a little bit about some of the changes, because I gave those numbers, and we really have made some huge things. Still need to be done, but we've made some huge progress. Could you talk about that? And
absolutely. First change was appointing Secretary Flood as the Board of Pardons. For those of you that are in the story, he received a pardon for his past offenses, and I thought, who better to lead those efforts than somebody who knows exactly what the process is like, and who somebody deserves and benefited from a second chance. So we set out to revolutionize the process and make sure second chances are just a standard operating procedure. And we eliminated all of the fees and costs associated with applying. And as you mentioned, we have awarded a record number of them since taking over in early January of 2019.
And I know you have worked with our steering committee at Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity to streamline the process. I mean, the application before was this long, cumbersome 9-page, 14 pages of
It was awful. Yeah, it was awful. It was inefficient. And we work with the experts like your organization to say what makes sense, what can we trim, and that whole process is about to go digital later on this year for the first time ever as well too. So we really set out to make it as accessible, and if anyone listening takes nothing from what I'm saying other than if you need a second chance, get your application in now, because there's never been a better chance. As you pointed out, nearly 90% of those that apply for a pardon that makes a vote receive one. And, you know, we strongly believe in the power of a second chance for people.
You know, we were talking with Leader Joanna McClinton in the last segment, and we were talking about how while progress has been made, there's still a ways to go. And one of the issues that Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity has really, and you won't be surprised because we've been talking to you about this, there are no fees for, you know, for following through with the application, but in terms of an applicant's fees and costs, not restitution, because that clearly is part of the sentence, but fees and costs, that's still being required to be paid before a person gets a hearing. And that just, that flies in the face of logic. These are people who are indigent. If they had $1,000 in fees and costs, they wouldn't need the second chance that a pardon can provide in terms of providing a job. So
sure.
How can we get rid of that?
First, let me just say I don't support that position. I don't believe. I agree with you. I agree with you that it's counterproductive to hold somebody accountable for a nominal fee that is a fortune to them, but really holds that person back from embracing a second chance. And I always push for exceptions to that rule whenever I have the votes, because I need at least 3 of those votes. So I think we need to be as forgiving as possible. And I would even suggest to your organization or others whether there could be some fund, a charitable fund, where deserving candidates like that can demonstrate a strong financial need, like say a single mother, would be able to have those funds go towards paying off those fees. I mean, because these are not large amounts. These are typically, you know, they're not like some scofflaw that owes $20,000 or $30,000. These are like a young mother, for example, that owes $800, $900 for a fine from, you know, 15 or years ago. So.
Yeah. Pulse did a study of all of our clients over the past 8 years, looking at what their fees and costs were, and it averages out to about $800 to $1,000, which is a huge amount of money, again, for someone.
Exactly.
And I hear what you're saying. Wouldn't it be great to come up with a pot that could support, but why not wait until maybe after the person has the pardon and has the job? You know, I mean,
I agree.
You know,
I fully agree.
Creative in terms of, you know, how we approach this.
I fully agree, but I was outvoted on that decision where the other members of the board stressed the importance of settling those before fully entertaining an application. Whereas, as your organization also did that groundbreaking study about the $16 million that second chances contribute to the Pennsylvania economy, it doesn't make sense from any perspective to deny somebody an opportunity just based on a relatively modest fine of that sort.
Thank you so much for raising that. That was the Economy League report, which said that, as you said, $16 million flowed into the economy from people who had a pardon just through increased wages. You know, I mean, so it just makes economic sense. You know, I was listening several weeks ago, and I would encourage everybody to listen to these public hearings, because when you put a face to people who have, you know, as you like to say, lived their best life, they've turned things around, to see them being held back like this is really, really impactful. But your approach in talking to people, and that's why I encourage everybody to watch these hearings, is empathetic. It's reflecting the humanity of people who, as you know, we've asked to do everything and they've done it, and we're still holding them back.
Yeah, no, I want people to understand that it's like, these are your friends, these are your neighbors, these are your family members, and some of them have maybe made a mistake, you know, 15 years ago, and they're being held back in perpetual punishment over this charge, and this can truly set someone free. It can allow them to get a better job. It allows them to make more money. It can allow them to volunteer at their child's school activities. It really is transformative, the power of a second chance. And Pennsylvania needs to continually embrace this. You know, we've got the punishment part down in Pennsylvania, but the forgiveness and the second chance, we got a long way to go, and that's what I've been pushing ever since becoming lieutenant governor.
Absolutely. And like you said, that window is closing. We don't know what January of, I guess, 2023 is going to bring. So it's really important for people in the next 15 months to move on this.
I agree.
You know, don't want to get in your business, but are you in the car by yourself?
I am in the car, correct. Yeah. In the car with somebody else I'm with you may want to talk to, who's a big fan.
That's what I'm talking about. Is the second lady of Pennsylvania in the car with you, Giselle?
Yes, she is. Hold on. Here she is.
Hi.
Hey, Giselle, it is so good to have you on the line. I'm going to end up sounding like a fangirl here, but I love following you on social media. I was so excited July 4th when I opened up the New York Times and you were in that full page ad. You are such a voice for immigration reform, for issues of domestic violence in women, for equity. It's just great to talk to you.
Well, I'm the fan, and thank you for having me. It's an honor.
So, and I sort of buried, I guess the top priority, which is being a mom. I have 2 girls, and that's sort of my priority. You have 3 kids, but how, could you talk about some of the issues that, you have really lent your voice to?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. It's really focusing on underrepresented communities, and that looks like so many different things. It looks like immigrants, it looks like people of color, it looks like women. So it's really trying to work on those issues. A lot of it is reacting. It's reacting to what's happening at any time, and the rest of the time is pushing for change.
The nonprofits that you've started that really serve, is it the community specifically of Braddock, or is it surrounding areas, but really providing people with the things they need? Could you talk a little bit about that? I remember seeing something online and thinking, wow, how wonderful is this?
Absolutely, thank you. So the Free Store 15104 was the first initiative, and it was a way to create a free store, essentially, is what it is, but it's really led by dignity. It's where, families get to come in and make choices. They get to choose the food they want or the clothing they need, or whether that's diapers or formula, and that's all using existing resources. So there's the environmental impact, but also it's fulfilling a need in the community.
So important, so important. Well, I really appreciate both you and the Lieutenant Governor taking time to talk to our WURD family this morning. Be safe, and we can I ask where you guys are? Are you headed from Braddock to where, without getting too much into business?
Sure, we are on the Turnpike currently. We spend a lot of time at the Turnpike. I know where the best snack options are. Always en route somewhere across our state.
Well, look, you be safe, and thank you so much for all that you do, along with, of course.
Thank you, Renee. It was a pleasure. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Thanks so much, Lieutenant Governor. We appreciate it. All right, so we have really sort of spanned the state this morning, but that was just Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman and the second First Lady of Pennsylvania, Giselle Fetterman, talking to us. The Lieutenant Governor, of course, is the chair of the Board of Pardons, and as I had mentioned in introducing him, when I was guest hosting several years ago on WURD, Secretary Brandon Flood was one of my guests, and he has made, along with obviously the other members of the Board of Pardons, led by the chair, some important changes and reforms, but we still have a lot of work to do. We're going to take a break. We will be back on the other side. Of course, we want you to call in at 215-634-8065 or toll free 866-361-0900. This is Wake Up with WURD, and we will be right back.
The Broad Street line.
Norristown High Speed line.
I ride the bus.
I ride the trolley.
Ursula Línea Azul.
Take all of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Into, out of, and all around the city.
SEPTA is the hometown way to go.
Plan your trip at iSEPTAPhilly.com.
Enterprise Exterminators, located at 4943 Wayne Avenue, has been in business since 1976 and can eliminate whatever pest problems you have. Enterprise specializes in bed bugs, lanternflies, and termites. Call for your free termite inspection today. Do-it-yourself kits are available. Enterprise Exterminators, servicing Philadelphia, Delaware, and New Jersey. Call now, 215-849-7070. Ask us about the WURD and senior discounts.
Hey Philly,
Unless you're planning on enjoying summer vibes in the same sweatpants you wore for the past year, it's time to change things up. That's right, that Philly summer feeling is almost here. The city is ready, and so are all the shops, restaurants, and museums you've been missing. Get vaxxed, get dressed, and get back to all the things you love about Philadelphia. Go to ReadySetPhilly.com today to plan your triumphant return.
This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are
undeniably,
indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media.
WURD.
This is WURD Radio.
96.1 FM.
And 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
And welcome back to Wake Up with WURD, WURD, 900 AM, 96.1 FM, the voice of the African American community. I am Tuesday's guest host for Solomon Jones for Nation Al Fatah with Kawesa Mathis. We are coming to you, I'm actually coming to you from my new office at Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. Join WURD for the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour. This year we celebrate West Oak Lane, Mantua, North, West, and South Philadelphia. WURD's Tiffany Bacon will broadcast live from a different neighborhood each Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Our next stop is North Philly's Penrose Playground, 1101 West Susquehanna Avenue. That's Friday, July 23rd. Enjoy a special feature on the Summer Olympics. You can meet special guests, and you can stand with WURD. Be a part of the movement to amplify the voice of the African American community. Show your support. You can join or renew your WURD membership on site. Join us as we broadcast from the Recreation Center at Penrose Playground from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. WURD, showing love this summer. Koesa, were you by chance, I mean, you're so busy, I almost feel guilty asking you this, but were you at the Summer of Love, the first event at Cobb's Creek on Friday?
You know, I was not, but I actually had a chance to listen, and you know, it was just, it really seemed like it was a nice community event. Folks to come out. We had a lot of, you know, public officials who were out there just, you know, talking about all the work that they're doing in the community. And of course, it's, you know, hosted by Tiffany Bacon. But, you know, we do this, you know, pretty much, it's an annual thing. So it's the, you know, Neighborhood Love Tour, but it's also Summer of Freedom, where we're just really kind of just talking about the importance of community. And so, you know, from what I heard, everything, you know, sounded great, and it was, I would have loved to have been there, but, you know, unfortunately I was, you know, still here at the station, but, you know, but it was great what I heard, yeah.
Right, right. And of course, Summer of Love, Summer of Freedom, it makes me think of that amazing documentary that I've now watched a couple of times, Summer of Soul, you know, Questlove's incredible sort of tribute to what was happening in the late 60s going into the 70s. And, you know, I listened to what you and Solomon were talking about in terms of the power of music. You guys were just talking about this yesterday and through the generations. And of course, coming out of Biz Markie's passing over the weekend. But music really is, and I would imagine that even though there are, you know, speeches and, you know, different events, music is integral at all of these various locations for the Summer of Love, Summer of Freedom tour. Is that a safe bet?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize. A couple people were calling. Apologize there. But yeah, you know, I mean, I think that, you know, you're absolutely correct. Yes, music and really just, like I said, community and tapping into what makes, you know, the different communities out here in Philadelphia tick. And so, yeah, for me, you know, music is, I'm a music baby. I love music. I sing, you know, and so for me, when you talk about music and being that great unifier, sometimes it doesn't even matter, you know, what race you are, your culture. If you have great music, then I feel like it just brings folks together, and really kind of, like I said, it's a great unifier. So yes, absolutely correct.
Yeah, no, and it stirs such memories. You know, like I said, I was listening to you guys talking yesterday and talking about Biz Markie, and it took me back to, and I hope you know, indulge me as I go down memory lane here a bit, but I was a young TV reporter in Atlanta. And at the time, Maynard Jackson, who I think is arguably one of the best mayors America's ever had, but he sponsored a tour of the Atlanta Super Choir to the Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland. And my assignment was to go along with them. And as part of the Jazz Festival, which that year, I think it was 1990, the music festival director was Quincy Jones. And as part of the lineup, he had Kool Moe Dee and Melly Mel and Big Daddy Kane and Biz Markie. And to look out and to see this sea of people who, you know, were European, but very much touched and connected by our music, speaks to what you were saying, Koesa, about how music is sort of a unifying force. It brings people together. It's you know, it sounds like a cliche, but it's that sort of universal language. You don't have to speak the same language to get the music, and that's the power of it. That's why I keep thinking about, you know, the documentary that, you know, is, I guess it's on Hulu. It's in theaters, but Questlove really did hit on something, because the music that we saw, I think, spoke to you know, where we were in 1969 as a people, as a movement. You know, it was fun for weeks afterwards looking online and seeing people talking about, you know, where I was in 69, where were you in 69? Koesa, you were not born in 69, but you know, I was, I guess, what, 10, 11, something like that. But just amazing, the power of music. And, you know, and it's why on top of everything else I love about what you do, you always bring us good music. I am sitting in for Solomon Jones. we have been talking about Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. I am the Deputy Executive Director. Over the course of the past, I guess 2 hours now, we've had one of our board members, Dr. Michelle Simmons, who is not only a board member of Pulse, but she had received a pardon. She was incarcerated. She has an organization that works with women who have been incarcerated and are returning citizens, Jeff Brown, who has made it his business to hire returning citizens. So, you know, the conversation has been about why it's important for second chances, for allowing people the opportunity to, you know, once they've done what you said you want them to do, to give them that second chance. And I've been asking people to call in, and you have responded. So I'm going to take my first call here from Raymond. Raymond, thank you so much for calling into WURD. How are you doing today?
Yes. Good morning, Honorable Chanel Fatah. How are you?
Renee.
I'm talking about Renee. I'm sorry.
You can call me Honorable if you want. My kids would love to hear that. But how are you doing?
Way back when y'all had when your mother-in-law had the organization out in Southwest Philadelphia.
House of Umoja, which she still has.
House of Umoja, yes, ma'am. Well, okay, but I'm going to limit my comment. My comment is this. I'm a 58-year-old male that I've been incarcerated on and off for 41 years. I haven't been in trouble for over 35 years. And I accomplished my bachelor's degree from Villanova, and I got a graduate certificate in restorative justice from Eastern Mennonite University. Okay, with all that said, it's still kind of hard for me to get employment because of my charge 35 years ago. And I want to know, my charge had to do with indecent sexual assault that put me on Megan's law, but it had nothing to do with children or anything of that nature. It happened in the process of doing drugs and alcohol with some women. So
and you said 35 years ago.
From that situation, huh?
I'm sorry for interrupting you, Raymond, but you said 35 years ago, right?
Yes, ma'am, 35 years ago.
And you haven't been involved with the criminal justice system since?
Other than working for them. I work for an outfit now called GEO.
Right.
And we do drug and alcohol counseling.
What about giving us a call? What about you giving us a call? I think, you know, one of our attorneys here would be happy to talk to you.
Oh, sure. I would love to do that because I love what Jeff Brown and the rest of the people are doing here in Pennsylvania as well as Philadelphia. And I know that I can give back some good stuff because I lived that life at once upon a time. And then today I'm just a totally opposite person. You know, I surprise myself sometimes.
About changing. None of us who we were 15, 20, 30 years. I mean, it's about growth. So let me give you the number for Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. You'll call this number. You'll get a recording. Somebody will get back to you, okay? The number is 267-519-5323.
Hello?
Yep. You got that?
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure, absolutely. 267-519-5323.
Thank you. Now, I would like to say that y'all did help me get some of my charges expunged about a year and a half ago. So I'm familiar with your organization.
Okay, well.
And I want to say thank you for that. Yes, ma'am.
So you'll be in our system, so then we can follow up on the other and see what we can do about the other, okay?
Yes, ma'am. And if you can use me for anything, please reach out to me because I'm available.
Okay, all right, great. Well, hopefully COESA has your number because, you know, we're always looking for volunteers and support, so we can follow up with you, okay?
Ma'am, and thank you very much for taking my call.
Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it, Raymond. You take care. Okay, let's go to Rob on line 2 from Mount Airy. Hey, Rob, how are you doing?
Fine. Good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm fine. Well, also, by the way, 1969, I was at that huge march at the Washington Monument where there was 400,000 of us protesting against the Vietnam War, and it was in a freezing drizzling rain, too.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, it was freezing, but, it was worth it to go down there and protest against a war that should have never been fought. And they finally admitted that that's what made me mad 30 years later. But anyway, I want to talk about... I'm sorry, what were you about to say?
No, I was just saying a war that never should have been fought. I was agreeing with you, and I was thanking you for sharing that memory.
Okay, what I want to talk about is something that is equally even worse. Now, yesterday, everybody heard about that judgment that was given to that guy who broke into the Capitol along with those insurrectionists. He was given 8 months. Now, on this radio program, we have talked about black and Latinos who did far, far less than what he did. This guy was an insurrectionist, period, who wanted to disrupt the government. We never did anything like that. You had people who's in jail, going to jail for many, many years, dozens of years. You even got elected officials who, even after blacks and Latinos were proven innocent, they refused to let them out of jail. And this guy, I look on TV, he's smiling. His lawyer's problem solved. You ought to be glad you're not black. I bet you that's what they're saying, because you're only going to jail for 8 months. So here I am, 70 years old, and still seeing the separate justice for blacks and whites, and it seems like it's always going to be this way. And if you don't mind me just saying this is even more insulting. You got a billionaire, Jeff Bezos, going up into space with these other billionaires while our infrastructure's down here crumbling, people are dying, pipes need to be replaced, we need schools, we need everything down here, and these people who stole our money since 1980, trillions of dollars, got so much money now, you're going to see them launch up into space, and I'm supposed to watch that and enjoy that? That don't make no sense.
Rob, it was as if you were, part of our discussion right at the top of the hour, because the story about the guy, Paul Hodgkins, getting 8 months was exactly what Kawesa and I were talking about, how maddening it was to remember what happened on January 6th and the thoughts we had at the time that if those terrorists, because that's what they were, if they were down, one, they never would have gotten out of there. And certainly those that were then would have been arrested would have gotten far more than 8 months. It speaks to the systemic inequality and racism that continues to perpetuate in the systems, which is why it drives me crazy when people attack critical race theory, because all critical race theory is talking about the systems of oppression that are rooted in racism and slavery and how that's insinuated itself into our criminal justice system, into our health system, into our housing system. But no, you are spot on, my friend. And I must admit, and I'm almost embarrassed to say, that when Richard Branson took off, I got caught up in the hype. I had met him many, many years ago, and he seemed like a nice guy, and isn't that great? He's heading to the moon. And people very quickly brought me back down to earth, not to use a bad cliche or pun, but that pointing out the very inequities and the inequalities that you talked about, our crumbling infrastructure, the fact that we don't educate our children, the fact that we live in housing that, they're talking about climate change, and temperatures are worse in inner cities than anywhere else because we lack green space and, the pavement, all of these inequalities. So yeah, thank you for making these points. And I think, if nothing else comes out of what we've experienced this past 16 months in COVID, I think it's a feeling that we all have to, whether you're 70 like you, whether you're 63 like me, whether you're Kawesa, I don't know how old you are, but I'm, your 20s, no matter your age, I think we all have to do what we can to use our voices to advocate. So that's why I just appreciate you, Rob, bringing it home for us. Was there anything else you wanted to say, or You kind of said it all, my friend, but...
Renee, the last thing is, when there's a march on the 28th, there's supposed to be a march at Washington, D.C. on the 28th. I hope they bring up all this about them going up to space. They got so much money, they don't know what to do with it. And the inequity of an insurrection is getting 8 months, and right now we still got black folks or Latino folks who are in prison, going to be in prison for a long time, and they're not going to have people like on TV making excuses. Oh, this is his first time excuse. Wink, wink. He admitted, wink, wink. And so there's probably other black folks and Latinos, and they still threw the book at them. So I hope they talk about that, because I'm going to that march on the 28th myself.
Where did you say the march is?
The march, it's supposed to be a march at Washington, D.C. with Reverend William Barber and, Al Sharpton. They're all supposed to be out there on the 28th of August.
Reverend Barber, yes, who is wonderful. His daughter is at Drexel. She heads up their Health Equity Center. Reverend Barber's daughter, Sherelle Barber.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, apples and trees, my friend. Thank you so much for calling us. So appreciate it. And please keep listening to WURD. Yours is an important voice.
Have a good day.
You too. Take care. Okay, hopefully we have time for Brother Hurt. Are you there from North Philly?
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm just wonderful.
Good. What's going on?
Hey, you going on? I never talked to you, but you're doing a wonderful job. You and the Queen. You're holding the fort down. I love WURD radio station from the passion of my heart. You are the best. You're doing a good job. God bless WURD. God bless you and your family. It's my first time talking to you, I believe, but you're doing a wonderful job. Keep it up. And drink your water, and God bless you.
Okay, good advice, and thank you so much, Brother Hurt. I really appreciate it. But you're right, I could not be doing this without the Queen. Like I told people from the start, Koesa got off the air yesterday and then, called me, and I had all these crazy questions because I don't understand this technology. She held my hand, walked me through it, gave us, the news stories that you gave, Koesa, it's clear we're spot on just from the comments we've been getting from folks. So, thank you, Brother Hurt, but thank you, Queen. And I think we're gonna head to break. This is Wake Up with WURD. I'm Renee Chanel Fatah, guest hosting on this Tuesday for Solomon Jones. You can call us at 215-634-8065 or 866-361-0900. I'm in my office, so I don't think that's a call for WURD. I think that's probably work related, but we'll be right back.
Whatever the world brings, we're always moving forward. Reinventing business, reimagining home, and re-emphasizing community. At PICO, we're redefining support, finding new ways to provide financial assistance, supporting opportunities for good jobs, and uplifting our communities. We're by your side through it all, because whatever the future holds, you're ready to take it on, and we're ready to power it. Find the support you need at pico.com.
What's up, Philly? It's Solomon. With so much uncertainty surrounding the upcoming school year, now is the time to take charge of your child's education and give them the tools to make learning fun and safe. Check out Commonwealth Charter Academy, which can make a difference in your child's life. Commonwealth Charter Academy, or CCA, is a K-12 public cyber charter school with nearly 20 years of experience providing a flexible, stable, online education in the comfort of your home. Enroll today at ccaeducate.me. Your child will receive 1. A world-class accredited education streamed directly into your home at no cost to you. 2. A laptop, headphones, assistance with accessing the internet, and learning materials all provided at no cost to you. 3. A safe learning environment with no bullying or security concerns. Join the nearly 2,500 students from Philly who already attend CCA. The school year begins September 8th. Enroll now at ccaeducate.me.
For the past 10 years, Comcast has been helping students get ready. We've connected 5 million students from low-income families to low-cost, high-speed internet. We're working with both nonprofit partners and city leaders to create over 1,000 Wi-Fi connected lift zones in community centers nationwide. And now we're committing $1 billion to reach 50 million people with the connectivity, skills, training, and the resources they need to succeed in a digital world. Learn more at comcast.com/education.
Hey WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today.
What grows in the forest? Trees? Sure. Know what else grows in the forest? Our imagination, our sense of wonder, and our family bonds grow too. Because when we disconnect from this and connect with this, we reconnect with each other and build family memories we will carry with us forever. The forest is closer than you think. Find a forest near you and start exploring at discovertheforest.org. It's easy. Just put in your zip code to find family-friendly outdoor destinations near you. You'll also find guides to free activities, games, and amazing forest facts. Give the magic of the outdoors to your kids and reconnect with your family. Find a forest near you at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
And welcome back to Wake Up with WURD. I'm Renee Chanel Fatah, your Tuesday guest host, along with producer Kolwesa Mathis. We want to hear from you. Please call 215-634-8065 or toll free 866-361-0900. Speaking of calls, I think we've got some folks calling in. Sarah from North Philadelphia, thanks so much for waiting and calling in to WURD. How are you this morning?
Oh, I am super right now. I'm shouting all over this room. You sisters are the bomb. I've been praying for this information for a long time, and God has answered my prayer.
Oh, how wonderful. Oh, my God, you made my day, Sarah.
Just because it's delayed doesn't mean it's denied. My son been railroaded by our injustice system for a crime he didn't commit. I had a tape to prove his innocent, but the DA said inadmissible, so they gave him life. I didn't think nobody really cared unless it's their personal family, or you had to be a celebrity, or you just had to be rich. So I just want to thank you for that information. I did get the phone number, and for you guys being so informative this morning. I said God did it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And definitely call, and someone will definitely get back with you. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, love.
Okay, you take care. Be blessed. Thank you. Lynn, on line 2 from Darby. How are you doing this morning, Lynn?
Oh, I'm doing great.
You sound great. Wow.
I'm not going to complain about my aches and pains because I'm blessed. And Renee, you look wonderful, girl. My goodness gracious. You got to leave your secrets with Kolwesa so she could tell me, because you look fabulous.
Really, Linda?
Yes,
so nice for you.
You do. You look like your younger sister from Channel 10 when you was on the news, and you just look great. I just want to say that. I'm not going to go overboard, but I'm enjoying the show.
Go overboard. Come on, go overboard.
But I'm enjoying your show and all the guests you have, and I always was so grateful for you and your family, the services you provide to help the community out, and I just want to thank you. And I believe we all should be helping each other. So this is what I wanted to I was teasing Viola Richburg Gray on the Facebook feed that I wanted her Delawarean resident to take us out to lunch because she won the lotto for the vaccines. So I wanted to ask you this, Renee. What do you think if we, with all that's going on with this voter suppression, it's just a matter of time before it reaches us? What do you think about us holding like little contests to register more people to vote, and we give out little prizes, whatever the community or the officials can afford to get more people to register to vote? Because it seems as though, we got to fight back, and we got to honor Brother John Lewis's legacy. He dedicated his whole life. And I just feel like we're not doing enough to get people registered and to get them to vote, especially in the primaries. And it seems like this is an all-out attack on voters. And it's just a matter of time. One of our senators, it wasn't Hughes or Williams, one of our senators is still insistent on recounting the votes for Trump. I said, is he kooky crazy? For heaven's sake. So I said, we got to get out here and fight. We got to have some plans, and we just got to get out here and do something to, make our people vote more. So what do you think about that? At the summer concerts and the events, whole little contest to get people to register to vote, give them tickets to the shows or TVs or money or what have you. But we got to do more to get people to vote, because I know it's coming down the pipe, Renee, and I'm getting scared, but I'm going to honor our ancestors' legacies, and I'm just going to keep up the good fight.
That's, Lynn, I agree with you. Yes to everything you said. I think whatever incentives, information we can provide to help people understand the importance of exercising their voice. And, the whole idea in a democracy is you want as many people participating as possible, and voting is how we participate. So I love your ideas. I think get on Facebook. I think, in our churches, in our social organizations, I'm a member of the Links. I'm going to take back what you said to them to see how we can get engaged. I think whatever avenue we have to use, because you're right, it's an all-out assault. That's why the news story that Koesa picked for us at the top, talking about what the Democratic Texas legislators were doing to just leave the state to get the session to end. Whatever we have to do within legal bounds, we've got to do, because too many people, you mentioned John Lewis and all those who've come before, we owe it to them and to ourselves and to our kids. So yes, I'm so appreciative for you calling in, Lynn. Thank you so much. Stay in touch.
You're welcome.
You take care. Let's see, Diane from South Philly. Are you still there, Diane?
Yes, ma'am, Attorney Renee, I just love you so much. I am so happy to hear you this morning. I thank the Lomas family and her Sarah team for bringing you on. They always bring on the best, and you are the best, Renee. I remember on Channel 10 when you was on Channel, when first came on Channel 10, how you had that wonderful interview with your mother and father, and that's still in my mind. It was just so beautiful, and I just thank you for the love that you have for the people. You have so much love for people. My son met you on the campaign when you was campaigning, and he said, Mom, he's young, he said, Mom, she is a beautiful woman. And I said, I know, she's beautiful. You are the best. And I just want to thank you for all the great things you do for the people, the parting and the all Alzheimer's disease. You do so much, and I just thank God for you and your family.
Diane, thank you so much for saying, and thank you for mentioning my mom and my dad. You know, they moved here when I had my daughter, Cameron. Do you know Cameron is now 22 years old and getting ready? You know, she graduated from college. She's in vet school. She's getting ready to go off to Ireland. You know, I want to keep her close, but, you know, they do what they have to do, and that's why you raise them, you know, to be independent. But thank you so much for that kindness. I really appreciate it, you know, and tell your son thank you. And you take care and keep listening to WURD, because we're very much here. Huesa, you have just the nicest callers. This has been so wonderful.
Yes.
And I do. You know, I'm trying to master all this technology. I've got my iPad, my laptop, I've got my cell, trying to say, but it looks like on the cell, we do have another caller. This would be Brother Michael in Columbus. Michael?
Hey, good morning, sister. Thank you for taking my call. Thanks, Kawesa. I wanted to reach out to you. I actually lived in Philly for 60 years, and, you know, definitely a supporter of your work around Alzheimer's. I believe you did some advocacy, or maybe currently, for the Senior Law Center as well.
Absolutely. You know, before I just started this new job at Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity, but before that, yes, for a year and a half, I was at the Senior Law Center, and I can't say enough great things about the organization. They are.
Yeah, I appreciate the work of you know, that you've done it. My mother, she has Alzheimer's, and often, you know, I use the Senior Law Center as a resource here from Ohio. So, yeah, I want to thank you just for all that work that you've done. I also want to thank Chaka Patel for his work around brain disease. I don't think a lot of black people are doing that type of work. And he's doing some amazing work around that. And I think that should be mentioned as well as supported. And lastly, your dear mother-in-law, Queen Mother Falaka Fatah, got to mention the work that she continues to do. I actually spoke to her here from Ohio a couple months ago. I try to keep in touch with the work down there, the House of Lamoja. So, you know, I heard generator this morning, and I just wanted to shout that work out that you're doing, Queen Mother's doing, and your husband, Shaka Fatah, as well. I just think that brain work, as I'm, you know, I'm 60 plus, and, you know, the whole issue around Alzheimer's and brain wellness is very important to me. And, you know, we just have to be cognizant of that, and we have to support the people that are doing that work. Thank you very much. Have an awesome day.
And thank you. And be sure and listen later this week, because we're going to be talking about what's going on at the Senior Law Center. And we're also going to be circling back, discussing Alzheimer's. And, you know, there are a number of organizations right now, Us Against Alzheimer's, the Alzheimer's Association. In fact, the executive director from the Alzheimer's Association is going to be talking to us this week. But again, making the connection that you were just talking about brain health. And that's something that spans the lifetime. You know, just like we talk about heart health, we need to talk about brain health. And it starts young, and there are things we can do, and there are things that, you know, people need to be aware of. So thank you for sharing that. I so appreciate it, Michael. You take care. From Columbus, Ohio. I was born in Cincinnati. That's about, I guess, an hour and a half from Columbus. Okay, I think we have time for one more call. I've sort of lost track of breaks and, you know, everything, but I don't want to ask her to wait any longer. So Barbara, are you still there?
Yes, and good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for hanging in there.
Yeah, very glad to hear you. I wanted to ask you about the U.S. Senate and filibuster. And something that I heard, and I'm not really clear on it, was that McConnell when trying to rush through those Supreme Court justices, did he suspend the filibuster or something?
Yeah, you know.
So so why can't they do that now? That's my question to you. And I'll hang up and listen in case somebody else.
No, I'm not going to have a great answer for you here. My understanding, and it's so gosh, it's almost eerie you would be asking me this, because my 17-year-old was asking me about this yesterday, and I was like, you know, you hate not to know with your children. But from what I understand, the filibuster was done away with for the Supreme Court, which is why McConnell is able to do what he's done. But that's not the case with the legislature. That's the issue now. So they've sort of whittled away the filibuster, so it doesn't apply to the Supreme Court. And of course, you see what happened. He was able to rush all of those, Amy Coney Barrett, and I can't remember. Oh God, how can I forget Brett Kavanaugh and
Kavanaugh?
Yes, right.
Kavanaugh.
So it was done away with the Supreme Court, and we see, you know, that's one of the arguments that people make for not doing away with it. I don't know how I feel about it. I personally feel we got to do what we have to do to get these bills passed.
Yes, I feel the same way.
Right. So, you know, but thank you for asking, and I'm gonna do a little bit more research, and if I can find out a little bit more, I'll get back with you. But that was my understanding, that it was done away specifically for the Supreme Court, but that's not the case with legislation that's outside the taxing area. So, all right, well, we are going to go to break, but we're going to be right back with much more. This is Wake Up with Word. I'm Renee Chenal-Fatah. I'm hosting for Solomon Jones on WURD 900 AM and 96.1 FM. We'll be right back.
Hello, Philadelphia. Switching to Geico is a good idea, especially when you consider everything.
First off, Geico makes it easy to switch, and you can contact your local agent for personalized assistance.
But having a trusted insurer in your life could make you feel so secure that you'll want to do something dangerous like run through a cactus patch, and that never ends well.
Well, if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds on car insurance, and you could keep saving by bundling your motorcycle, boat, and RV, plus your home or renter's insurance.
But saving money might make you want to giggle gleefully, and when your mouth's open, a stray acorn could fall in there. It happens a lot, actually.
Well, they do have an industry-leading mobile app you can use to pay your bill, file and manage a claim, or add a new driver. And they offer discounts to military and federal employees.
And that might make you so happy that you start whistling all the time. Who likes whistling? Name one person.
Well, Geico is the second largest car insurer in the country and has been saving people money for 85 years. It's hard to beat that.
But you're right.
Switch to Geico. It's obviously a good idea.
The holistic colonoscopy. No IV sedation. Your colonoscopy is due. You don't have someone to drive you home. You don't want to drink the prep. You don't want to be sedated with the Michael Jackson drug propofol. Does that sound like you? Call Blake Gastroenterology at 215-849-4902. Visit the website www.jsblake.com and make your appointment today. Drive yourself home after the holistic colonoscopy.
So many times we say to ourselves, I need to make a difference. Well, your chance is here. Center in the Park is holding a virtual volunteer event Friday, August 6, 2021 from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Advocate for those who can't, support those who can, and ensure all long-term care residents live with dignity and respect. Register for this Ombudsman event at info@centerinthepark.org. We all feel better when we do something that matters and when we do something with purpose.
Morning, Mama. How you feeling?
Great, and I'm ready for you today.
I'm checking in on you. Morning meditation?
Check.
Dressed and ready to work out?
Check.
Check your blood pressure yet?
And check.
Boom! Great job, Mom. And about those gold earrings?
No, ma'am.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Monitor your blood pressure daily and help each other stay motivated. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
Want the latest in Word swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about black. Talk media. This is not a fad for us.
We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Good morning again, everyone. I'm Renee Chanel Patah, guest hosting for Solomon Jones on WURD, Wake Up with Word on 900 AM and 96.1 FM. We're going to take a call, I believe. Daryl, are you still on the line?
Oh, Brother Derek, yeah. I'll get him.
Oh, Derek. I'm sorry, Derek. I needed to put my readers on so I could see. Sorry about that. Brother Derek from North Philadelphia. Sorry, this is what old age does for you. You need readers. How are you?
Love, peace, blessings, and prosperity unto you and your family.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to hear your voice over the airwaves. I was born in 1960, so we're around the same age. And I remember watching you on television doing your newscast. Right. I just thought that you were a positive energy for the whole city. I thought that, and I still think that you are an attractive woman, and I can see where God has blessed you, my sister, truly.
Thank you, Derek.
But what I called to speak about today was that I called to speak about the sentence that was given to the guy for insurrection in the state, in the Capitol.
Yeah, Hodgkin.
And, my opinion, Renee, is that I don't like the concept of America justice, number one. I don't like the concept of justice being blind. And I feel strongly about that. And the reason why I feel strongly about that is because the image of Lady Justice had all her senses except for one, her vision. So I think that the concept of justice should be that you are in full faculties of your faculties, and that way that you can render a justice according to, based on your faculties. And I just don't think that we get that justice, and primarily because our justice system is blind for the reasons that we know does not advocate for black and brown people or poor people in general. So I don't like the concept of justice in America or its criminal justice system. So I'm not surprised about the justice or lack of justice that was served to that guy for his insurrection, Renee.
Paul Hodgkins, yeah. No, I think the feelings you're sharing are felt by a lot of us today, Derek, truly. It's pretty disheartening. Thank you very much for calling in and also for your kind words. I appreciate that. You take care. Keep listening to Word. And now on line one, Renee from West Oak Lane. I always love talking to another Renee. I know that's now, but
wow.
How are you?
So, I'm good. One Renee to another Renee.
Right.
Hello, Renee Shanafuta. I just want to compliment you. Solomon couldn't have chose a better person than you, and it's so good to hear and see. So I just want to say you're doing a fantastic job. Just wanted to give you a compliment.
Well, thank you, Renee. I appreciate that. And I appreciate Solomon giving me the opportunity. And, you know, one of the callers earlier mentioned the CEO, president of WURD, Sarah Lomax Reese. She really, I mean, talk about a godsend. She looks out for the community. You know, she reached out to me several years ago when I was doing my documentary on Alzheimer's and, you know, said, would you like to guest host and talk about how this is impacting the community? And in the same vein, she did it for you know, the Wake Up with WURD show with Solomon Jones. So I just, you know, we're very fortunate, and I certainly not for a minute take it for granted, but thank you for your kind words. I certainly.
You're welcome.
You take care. Try and stay cool. I think it's gonna be hot out there today. Ugh. Although I shouldn't be doing the weather. It's so fun. I've been listening to the weather breaks with Bill Henley, and it reminds me of being back at, you know, NBC 10 when he was, you know, one of the meteorologists. So he must be the longest serving meteorologist now in at NBC 10, because he was there even before Glenn Hurricane Schwartz was. So that's quite a feat. But yeah, so thank you very much, Renee, for calling in. And it has been just, you know, I have so appreciated this opportunity. As I started off by saying, you know, I started on June 1st at Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity as their deputy executive director, and had come to the organization after having served on the board of directors, and then before that had been approached by a college friend, Stuart Davidson, who asked me to do some videos sharing the stories of people who were in various stages of getting a pardon. And I was so moved by the stories of people who, you know, maybe when they were in their 20s or 30s had committed a crime, served the time, but then 20, 30, 40 years later are still being haunted by this criminal record, which was keeping them from opportunities with work, things we've heard this morning, education opportunities just to, you know, be able to do a field trip with your child. So this organization, Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity, works with low-income Philadelphians, helping in the expungement process. And we do 3,000 expungements a year, more than any other organization. We started helping people with the pardon process because we were discovering that they weren't able to get everything off their criminal record. In other words, you have to, you know, non-conviction material can be expunged. And later this week, we're going to have our lead staff attorney come on, Taylor Pacheco from Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity, and she'll talk about the differences and the process. But we were finding that not everything can be taken care of through expungement. Clean Slate is a great program, but again, doesn't take care of everything. And that a pardon was really the way in which you go through the process. Once you get through that process, you can say, I don't have a criminal record. It is gone. And while I think it is the right thing to do, what we're hearing in research and from experts, it's also the economic smart thing to do, because when you give people an opportunity to lift themselves out of poverty, you lift communities out, you lift families out. So it's a way of workforce development. Get rid of that record, you get a better job, you move to a better housing, you provide educational opportunities. There are a host of benefits, and not doing it is keeping our communities in poverty. And Koesa, I know you, and listening to the people who called, it's clear, I mean, it's almost common sense. You know, it's not happening the way it should, but it is common sense when people break this down.
Oops, I apologize. Sorry, had a couple callers. So I apologize. When you hear me muted, if someone calls, sometimes they're asking me questions or trying to, you know, get the office number or something like that. So I definitely apologize for that dead air there. Sorry.
Somebody throws something to you and you're like, I'm doing 5 other things. Hello. But no, I was just talking about, you know, the guests we've had on this morning. It's clear that this is the way forward. It's not the sole answer. It's not the sole answer to the violence that's taking place in our city. That requires targeted responses. That requires, you know, helping both those who might be inclined to commit crime as well as victims. You know, it requires revamping our education system. There's a whole ecosystem of things that has to be done. But this is one part of that if you're looking to help people reverse their fortunes.
Yeah, you know, and I think that, you know, you're absolutely correct in the sense of that, you know, there's not just, you know, one solution, right? You know, we do need to make sure that we are doing everything that we can in regards to education, in regards to mental health, in regards to expungement. I mean, there's so many levels to this. There's so many, you know, social injustices that we are all, you know, currently dealing with, specifically in this city and also in, you know, inner cities all across the country. And so, you know, I think that it is vitally important to make sure that we are honing in and focusing in on what we can do to help people individually so that we can all strive to be better and do better and just have a better overall life here. So yeah, I admire the work that you're doing. I admire the work that, you know, everyone who called in is doing to really just make sure that Philadelphia and the surrounding areas can really be that better place that we all need for it to be.
Absolutely. You know, I was at Senior Law Center and I love the work that they're doing, and it was so supportive and rewarding. Yet this opportunity to, I mean, and I have a legal background, but I don't really feel it's the legal background that I bring to the table here. It's the communication angle and platform. You know, people do not know about pardons and expungements. They think it's, well, you know, it's something for rich people, or it's something that a president hands down to his rich crony friends. You know, that's the federal system. That's not the state system. And we had talked about this earlier with Leader McClinton. People think, well, you know, we have an increase in gun violence. You're talking about releasing people from you know, prison, murderers and rapists. No, these are people who have, you know, they're your neighbors. They're members of the community who have been out for 5, 10, 15 years with no problems. It's a way to give people an opportunity. And, you know, we want people to know that there are things you can do. And it is a process. I mean, when you're talking about a pardon, it doesn't happen overnight. And later this week, we're going to be talking specifically about what that process is. But if you get to the end line, there's you heard Lieutenant Governor Fetterman say, close to 90% success rate that you will get that pardon. And then that allows you, I mean, it goes back to the court, and they have to, you know, do the expungement, but then that record is gone. You can honestly say, I do not have a criminal record. And the opportunities that opens up for people, you know, education, being with your kids in school, and that's a whole area that we need to talk about. You know, we want parents participating with their children in school activities, and you've got these rules, these collateral consequences of a criminal record saying, no, you can't volunteer to chaperone your child on a school trip if you have a record. So are you supposed to lie about it? No, you don't want to have to lie about it, but if you tell them, then you're prohibited from doing it. It puts people in a horrible situation, and it's unfair, and it's something we can all do something about, you know. And part of my job at Philadelphia Lawyers not only is to reach out to potential clients, but it's to reach out to the business community, the legal community, to our churches. There are ways in which everyone can participate in this by being a volunteer. We have 100 clients right now who are ready to apply for pardons. We need coaches. We spend like 50 minutes. I'm a pardon coach for someone. It takes 50 minutes to learn how to walk somebody through. So we're reaching out to churches, we're reaching out to workforce development corporations, we're reaching out to law firms, we're reaching out to corporations, asking them to, you know, we all say we want people to volunteer and to give back. This is a way to give back and to make a difference and an impact in people's lives. So I'm actually going to be on sort of a the bandwagon, encouraging everyone to reach out to Pulse. Our phone number is 267-519-5323. If your organization is interested in, becoming a pardon coach, taking one of our clinics, the beauty of being virtual is that, we can, do this over Zoom in 30 minutes, 40 minutes. You can learn how to be a pardon coach. So, I can't say enough how much I have appreciated being able to share what is going on here at Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. And the call-ins, our guests, Leader Joanna McClinton, Lieutenant Governor John Fetterman, and the second First Lady of Pennsylvania, Giselle Fetterman, and of course Jeff Brown, who's on our board, but who is also the president of ShopRite, and Reverend Michelle Simmons, who is on our board, and of course my city council woman, Cindy Bass. Just so appreciate you calling in, appreciate the calls. Oh my gosh. I so love the WURD family, and every call I got, I really appreciate it today. And Kawesa, I cannot tell you how much I appreciated your hand holding and getting me through this. And not just getting me through it, I actually had a very good time. I'm still struggling with the technology and looking at my cell phone and the iPad, but just the connection after this year and a half has really been powerful. Thank you so much. Up next, we have Reality Check with Charles Ellison. Everybody go out and have a wonderful day. Stay safe, stay cool. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.